Okay, here we are, the fire station. This is the Finance Committee meeting. The agenda for July 23rd, 2026 at 5 p.m. It is now 5:03. We're meeting here at the fire station, and you can join on the webinar if you're checking in. Come on in. We have our board. I'll do a roll call vote. Rayo?
Here.
Jeff?
Here.
Michelle?
Here.
Madonna? Here. Okay, so we are four. We have a quorum. So pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020, order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, and Governor Healy's March 3rd, 2025 order extending remote participation by all members in any meeting of a public body. This meeting of the Finance Committee will be conducted via remote participation. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town website. For this meeting, members of the public and committee members may attend the meeting remotely following the instructions at the top of this agenda, and every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. So we are here as a quorum. And the second part on the agenda is committee member and announcements or statements. Does anybody have
I
something?
have a tech question. Can you see who is signed in as not a participant? I think they're a 10.
Let's see,
Yeah, just like that. Yeah.
Claudia and Sharon.
Okay, welcome.
Thank-
Okay, thank you.
That way you can see the hand.
Does anybody have an announcement or statement? Well, I do. I had to write it down, but I have a statement. So I'd like to say that after the last meeting, I just want to make sure that every resident has the right to disagree with the committee and to criticize our decisions. However, that right does not include verbally attacking, intimidating, or directing profane remarks at any individual member. The members of this committee are residents who volunteer their time and service to the town. We deserve the same dignity and respect that we expect them to show every member of the public. Going forward, the comments must be directed through the chair. Personal attacks, profanity, shouting, and disruptive behavior will not be permitted. We can disagree, and sometimes we can disagree strongly without demeaning one another. And that is a standard which I will, as chair, try to uphold and be consistent for everybody. Thank you.
May I make a comment, please?
You may.
At first off, I just want the audience to know the chair was not speaking to me. Okay, thank you. Also, remember there has been decisions, legal decisions regarding this. And as a matter of fact, one from KP Law, our town attorney's office. I suggest we be cautious with what we do and make sure we're reading legal update. You may be checking with town council. There is certain variables, but we must be very careful. And I would suggest that my fellow committee members go online and do some research regarding those legal findings. And what may personally bother us, if we do the wrong thing, is deemed unconstitutional. So we have to be very careful. So I was unaware of that statement. The chair is not speaking for me. Thank you.
The chair is speaking for the chair with that statement. To be clear. Anybody else? Okay. Nobody else has,
Maybe I'll say.
okay.
Because we're going to have a series of meetings where we're going to be discussing town plans. So I think, many people in this town don't really know who I am. So I thought maybe it'll be nice, it'll be good to say like, what am I thinking when I come to these meetings? So really, I'm thinking about, when I make points and such, I'm really thinking about three people, I think, primarily. Two of them are my children. Like I'm thinking when I talk about what we want to, not just like now, but the future, because I think my children are going to be here for many years. I want them to have children here and their grandchildren here, for them to be part of this community. So when I make recommendations, I'm thinking about, the life of my children now, but also 50 years from now. So I really think about that. And the third person I think a lot about when I, think of policies, is actually my neighbor, my next door neighbor. My next door neighbor lives in, that I've now interacted many times now, in the time that, but she lives in a relatively large house by herself now. In this house, like, her grown children have left. She once lived there with her late husband. And she loves this house. And then the taxes are becoming high, and then I understand the pain and like how difficult it is to like for her to maintain her finances and live in this house. So I really think about that. And when I think about these audiences, so like two young children, one of them is like 5, the other one's 10, and then my next door neighbor, I think about these two audiences primarily. It's because I feel like as a community, these are the members we really need to take care of, the young and the elderly. And then also I think about, as a town, what kind of services do we have to provide these members? What kind of town must we be for both the young and the elderly to really thrive, to make their home, to make Great Barrington a really special place for them? And I think about, you need the ambulance services, you need a good school. And these are the things that come to my mind when I make policy. What's that sound?
Oh, that's the fire.
That's
They,
right.
we're in a fire
Oh, yeah.
station, so there's fire stations.
Yeah.
and
Like on TV where they
That's
see
right.
you out.
And then when I think about these three audiences, first I start from, okay, we're in a financially difficult position. Like we have this like, this imbalance between revenue and spending. So how do we deal with that? And then I think, okay, but we need to make it such that, both the young and the elderly, they can both, live here, afford to live here, thrive here, but then also kind of provide the services that they really depend on, whether it be the ambulance, whether it be the roads be cleared and stuff. So these are the things that goes in my mind as I'm thinking about these recommendations. So, it's I wish that many of you will get to know me over the years, but at least you have a sense of like who I like, what I have in mind when I'm making my comments and making recommendations.
And just another comment is that get to know you, that's an important thing.
Yeah.
Because even for me, going to all these meetings, when you're not in a meeting atmosphere, you sit down with somebody and you talk to them, then it's that one-on-one, like you said, getting to know we do have to respect each other, where they're coming from and everything. But that getting to know you, I think it's important, and I think it is. And so, I mean, when we meet people for the first time, we all have that initial read and then get to know. You go, oh, wow, that's really good. Like Jeff running by my house. I'm out on the street and there goes Jeff running. Hey, Jeff, what's up? Yeah. So that's good.
I'm not trying to discourage anybody from their First Amendment rights to speak up and disagree. When I see that the public discourse doesn't become public discourse, it breaks down. It breaks down when there's shouting and there's profanities. It was shocking. I go to an awful lot of meetings and I can't remember one that was really that harsh. And it was jolting, it was harsh to me, not to you. To me, it was harsh, it was jolting, and I just felt like the conversation was just breaking down because it just became so, it seemed inflamed and I mean, he was always at the podium, I mean, he was absolutely within his rights. I get it. But I think we can disagree and you can criticize in sort of a civil way.
and I understand that, and in our personal capacities. We can have these emotions and everything, but as a chair. We have to make sure we don't cross the line or.
Well, I was trying not to cross the line,
Yeah.
but I wanted to make a
But
statement
I'm just
here.
recommending read
Okay.
the material on it, and you'd be really surprised.
Well, I guess I would be.
Yeah, and I do have it, be happy to scan it and send
Great.
it to, and that's only the tip of the iceberg.
I know you have to tread lightly,
Yeah,
and,
that's-
but
that's
we've
not-
gone, I don't know how many meetings you've attended that kind of thing, but
I
it,
have, actually.
well,
Yeah.
well, then maybe you're just used to it, but I certainly wasn't, and I know other people were very rattled by it, very rattled. And so I feel as a chairman, I would like to just make that statement that, you know, let's have conversations, let's have criticism, you know, and there's always putting your name on a ballot to become a member of this committee at another time. So that's all I have to say. Okay, anybody else? Jeff?
I just want to acknowledge that Doug Robbins is in the room, and I want to thank Doug for being here tonight. Anyone who listened to our last committee meeting may recall that this committee recommended that the town appoint Doug to a one-year appointment to the Finance Committee, and I understand that has not happened yet, but I appreciate you coming to the meeting tonight so that if and when it happens, you will be fully up to speed.
It's happening Monday night.
Yeah, next week.
It's on the agenda.
It's on their agenda. Okay, well, thank you. So our main part tonight was a discussion and recommendations regarding the select board strategic plan. They're going to be meeting next week as well on Tuesday. Liz was, and we were recommended that if we had some ideas and we had some recommendations, now would be the time to discuss it. And Rayo got the ball rolling here, I see, about things that he felt was important. And Jeff has a whole lot of, you were pretty thorough, Michelle, and you probably have.
Research,
We-
yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, okay, so,
Yeah.
so does anybody have a preference on where we start? Should we start with Rayo's, or did you make any copies of yours, or we're just?
No, I didn't know we were supposed to.
No, I'm just saying,
I mean,
he's a professor, he passes out stuff all the time.
I mean, I'd be happy to, I don't know what's the best way to approach, I think, I'm gonna be, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take notes on everything that's being said, since I'm also the clerk of this committee. So what I want to do is take notes and then see if there's areas that see points of agreement, some language that seems repeating, and then maybe we can vote on like a I don't know if we should vote on a draft language or final. If we don't vote on a draft language, then we have to meet again to vote on a final language, but I don't know, what we want, but at least I can take notes and then come up with like points that we want to advance to the select
Yeah.
board.
And do you think, should we maybe start with high-level thoughts on the process or strategic plan?
Sure,
And then drill into either specific sections we're recommending changes to?
I have no preference how we do this. There's gonna be,
Yeah,
okay,
there's gonna be a lot to do tonight.
yeah.
So we're gonna have to be targeted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, and then it's obviously like what Rayo did.
yeah,
was targeted.
shall we try this targeted and see?
And you said Jeff has something, you did pass out anything as well?
I haven't passed anything out.
No, that's okay.
I've just
Have
gathered a
something,
few
yeah,
thoughts.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, out of respect for Jeff.
Yeah.
as well.
Okay, yes,
But, if Rayo doesn't mind going further,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the number, like infrastructure and assets,
Yeah,
Jeff and whatever.
Yeah,
like
why don't we
that.
just
Yeah,
go in
yeah,
order and-
I
yeah.
agree, I agree.
okay. So for infrastructure and assets, so in this document, well, it could be, it's pretty rough because I was, working on this today. I don't have a chance to really read over. But I thought one of the main things that we should recommend, and this comes out in partly of the conference that happened last time, but also in the background is the audit that has happened, is that, and I think this also reflects something that Liz said during the meeting itself, which is to establish a capital project subcommittee. And so this is, I'm really following Liz's lead here in some ways. And I think I don't remember exactly what she said, but I was thinking through this, it probably makes sense to have a member from the select board, member from the finance, of course, Liz, and then, the town, so town manager, and town accountant would be obvious, I think, people to, be on such a subcommittee. And I think the subcommittee, would be important in that the subcommittee could really be behind thinking about what the capital project priorities are and coming up with thinking through multi-year capital project priorities. So this is, bullet point number 2 that I have here. Craft appropriation proposals. So I think one of the things that I inferred or I come to understand through these multiple conversations about the procurement is that the way we write the appropriate proposals themselves should be more targeted and strategic moving forward. It seems like that's a way we can save money and prioritize things. So such a committee could be a place that does that. And of course, also that about the procurement is that kind of review to make sure the procurement the review the procurement process. So there's appropriate and there's procurement process. So this committee I think could be in charge of like overseeing this. But I think the first step really of this committee is to come up with a clear set of guidelines and proposals so we don't have the repeat of something we had with the roadworks. And then, that's year one, but afterwards, probably this will be like a standing committee that reviews. So that's my idea for this first bullet point.
I had a similar thought. I wrote down something similar about capital project recommendations. I wasn't certain that a standing subcommittee was necessarily the right vehicle, though it might be. So my thought was something along the lines of empowering the town manager to consider vehicles through which capital project recommendations can be reviewed. And it may be a subcommittee. There may be some structure that I'm not aware of, but I agree that there's a need for that, and I think we'd find the support from town leadership.
In my opinion, passing it back to the town manager, I mean, she does have authority, quite a bit of authority, but I think I vaguely remember from other meetings, this coming up before, not necessarily ours, and it was with the ambulance squad, kind of having different voices in the room, representations in the room, thus that committee that was formed. So we have town people over to that committee. So if it's recommended for that, maybe this is something we should adopt for our own town government, particularly after the procurement issue. And there's going to be many more, not issues, but involving procurement practices and everything. But to have different eyes, I would like to see the eyes on it, have experience in that type of thing.
Yeah.
Because it's a different language and that sort of thing. I would have no objection to that at all. I think it would be really helpful. And I also think it's almost a corrective action to what has just occurred. It's okay, this happened, this is what we're going to do to prevent it from happening again. And, but you can't just throw a bunch of people together and say this, like it was set up a structure for it. Although it's not uncommon to have subcommittees, this would be one that really would have to do deep study.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be.
This would be a real commitment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. So.
And I do think so I mentioned 4 people, I don't know if there's so this is our recommendation, of course, select board will take this, leave it however they like, but at least for our recommendation, I think it makes sense to recommend someone from the finance committee be on it, of course, someone from the select board has to be on it.
Yeah.
Of course, Liz, and then like that, so the 4, I think, that makes sense. I don't know if, select, of course, then select board, will have ideas on who else should be on, but as our recommendation, then something like this.
And they also have far more experience.
Yeah.
This is what comes before them frequently, so I agree.
Shall we formulate that as one?
So in terms of, so what we ideally probably we'd adopt a similar structure as the current strategic plan, which is like there's a main recommendation and there's sub points of like what's involved in the recommendation. So the memo I created follows that pattern. So I'm wondering, what you think of like the subpoints, and I have the file in front of me, so since we agree with this larger point, I can like edit and such the subpoints to make sure that it adopts the language that we are, that are happy with. So should we go like line or?
I wonder if we're going, because
I think so. too.
if we're going too deep, it really, the select board may say, no, we're not doing that. I think we should have a framework. It's just
Okay.
my thoughts on it. A framework to bring below before the select board, a good proposal, combining some of what Jeff just said with what Ray just said, which you seem to be pretty much on the, I think we're all.
Right,
kind of-
I think so, yeah.
yeah,
But just, what you presented just now. And so, I don't know how deep Liz wants us to go into it.
That's why I think
That's
it would be
okay.
best to, to give a motion and an advisory recommendation that's broad enough so that it doesn't constrain, creativity and experience, but
Yeah,
also gives
that's
enough of a structure.
wondering too.
So,
Yeah, limiting.
I
What
thought you
goes
might
on.
have something like that.
yeah, I mean, what I wrote down is a motion to recommend to the town manager and the select board that the town consider vehicles such as perhaps a subcommittee through which capital project recommendations can be reviewed.
And then if you take that, and I mean, that's fine as a
Mhm.
motion, but you could also say as presented by finance committee member,
As presented by
that-
Finance
and we
Committee,
vote.
Rio Matsuzaki.
Yeah.
oh, I see, and then this can be,
That would be your number one, number,
Okay.
That would be number one.
okay,
because it's almost like you.
yeah, that makes
You
sense.
could break it down and just say, well, I make a motion on infrastructure and assets as presented by finance committee member Rayo. And I'm sorry, Rayo, I always mess up your last name.
Matsuzaki.
Not
Just
exactly.
Rayo.
Just Rayo's fine.
I've been practicing.
Should I make a motion?
Yeah,
to do it?
why don't?
Are we okay with?
Because I'm comfortable
Okay.
with this, I am,
Okay.
and as you know, if I wasn't, I'd say something, so.
All right, I would like to make a motion that the Finance Committee recommend to the town manager and select board that the town consider vehicles through which capital project recommendations can be reviewed, such as a subcommittee as presented by committee member Ryo Matsuzaki.
Okay, so the exact language you have, and then we'll type that up. So I heard it, but then we
Yeah.
need to like have the language recorded, right? So I'm happy.
Yeah, well,
It's being
this thing's
recorded,
recorded.
yeah.
so
That's true. Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's being
Okay.
recorded,
That's true.
yeah.
Okay.
I ad-libbed a little bit when I was.
And then,
reading,
so what would happen is this would be provided to the select board.
Yes.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Because say we get to number two and we make this one, we're all on the same
Yeah.
page.
Okay,
Number two, we may have a different point of view, so
Correct.
keep them
Yeah.
separate or
Yes.
sure.
like that, as long as everybody else is okay.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Michelle seconds. I have a vote. Oh, any comments? I guess we'll ask the town if, or the residents here that are here, public, anybody have a comment on it?
I'm also going to look online to see.
Yes,
if
and we
there's
have to look online too.
the mail to the attendees. I don't see any
Any-
hands raised right now.
All right. No hands raised?
Okay.
Okay. Oh, we do have a hand raised. We have Sharon, yes.
I'm sorry, taking comments is, on each subject as you go along.
Well, because if we take a vote, we have to, isn't that correct?
Yeah.
We'll go to Eileen. Yeah, we have to take a vote to give the public a chance to, to discuss it
On
and
this particular
on,
motion.
on this particular motion.
So, can I say?
Yeah.
I would be, I'd be in favor of having more, visibility on our capital expenditure, both as go through the planning process as well as at the town meetings. Because at the town meetings, we just kind of go, well, stop if you want us to enumerate something, and there's not really a forum to, discuss each one. So anyway, I don't know how you want to incorporate it, but, maybe just the consideration of having a different format of the town meeting so that, there's more attention to what we're voting on capital expenditures.
Okay.
So so first, one question that I have is in brackets, I have tier one. I can go ahead and delete that or explicitly as a committee write whether we recommend it as a tier one or not, like, whether we want that to be part of a recommendation.
What?
Well,
Was
like,
just pres-
the what was just presented, whether we just, forget the tiers, just present that, or do we want to write particular tiers as part of a
I
recommendation?
think just present it. Let's not,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
micromanage.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
have to agree,
Yeah.
I think we keep it a little
Yes.
broader, that gives some flexibility. But we go
Yeah,
in by other parties, weighing in on that.
No, I agree with that. So the reason why I brought it up is I want to go ahead and delete when I put brackets tier one, since we're voting on the language that you have in front of you.
Mhm.
It's with the voted language minus brackets tier one.
Yeah, no, that's fine, so he's.
And I just want to say, do you want to hear what his 4 bullet points are? Is that what you're also getting at, Sharon, or?
Yeah.
Okay,
Copy.
Oh, yeah. You can,
Here's another copy. I made one more extra if you want to
Thank you.
pass it on and show what I've done. I'm sorry, I didn't make any more copies. I just have like a
Yeah.
couple extras.
I shared, but it doesn't enable people to follow.
Yeah.
And I just, because one of the strategic priorities is innovation,
Yeah.
we can bring something like this forward to under communication, communication without and within,
Yeah.
how things are presented, so.
So maybe I should read the whole thing out.
I have no problem
yeah,
with that, I
because
think
if
I would
we're-
like to read it into the record.
Yeah, so let me read out what we're,
Yeah, I
voting
agree,
on.
I
So,
agree, if that's okay with the chair.
yeah, but
Chair.
yes, that's fine.
okay. So what we're voting on is the following language. Recommendation, establish a capital project subcommittee and give it a first assignment, written guidelines for how capital purposes and procurement are handled. And then the bullet points. Establish a standing capital project subcommittee jointly constituted with the finance committee with representation from the select board, the finance committee, the town manager, and the town accountant. Actually, may I change my language because I now that I'm reading it, I don't know if I like the.
What I was trying to get at in my motion was not to adopt in black and white,
Yeah,
ink here, everything you said, but to give enough
yeah,
flexibility to the select board and town manager. So what I was gonna say is that the town manager and select board consider vehicles through which capital project recommendations can be reviewed, such as through a subcommittee, considering considering the framework presented by committee member Rio Monzasati, right? So it's not that we are formally recommending every word in this. I mean, maybe the other committees aren't the right ones,
It could be that they go, haven't thought of that one, or, yeah, that's not gonna work. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's their prerogative to do that.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
can, they could totally say, no, not gonna do it, don't like it, take their vote, or say, we love it, but we want to expand upon it. It's a little
Right.
limiting.
Sure,
whatever.
sure.
So hopefully, Rio, that makes you less
yes,
concerned about, whether everything is exactly right, because it can be changed and,
Right.
we're
That's the
not
whole point,
adopting.
yeah.
Right. It's just a
Okay.
draft.
should I go ahead and just read
What I said.
what's in here? I just made one small change. Because it didn't make sense grammatically, but let me read what I have right here, so at least you're comfortable with,
Okay,
So establish a standing capital project subcommittee with representation from the select board, the finance committee, the town manager, and town accountant. Charge the subcommittee with developing written guidelines governing the criteria and process by which capital project priorities are set, appropriation proposals are crafted, and procurement is conducted on capital projects. Bring the guidelines to the select board for adoption in time to govern the FY 20 capital cycle. review capital requests against a multi-year forecast and account for debt service already committed, including the regional school building bond.
Any suggestion, let me know what, introducing what Sharon brought in. Like, that's about project, let's see, by which capital project priorities are set, appropriation proposals are crafted. Could we say, and presented to the public,
Rules are crafted,
and performance is conducted on capital projects.
and
How the
prospects.
proposals are crafted and presented to the public.
crafted.
And it's
Crafted.
already not like that. But I was just wondering what you,
And you said, to the public
it
and
would say,
presented,
it says appropriation proposals are crafted and presented to the public or presented. I hate to say just voters, because we're.
yeah, no,
our
no,
duties too.
yeah, sure, sure. I like it.
But
We can,
it's Rayos.
I think that's fine.
Yeah,
So,
and again, the select board can.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
do the register thing.
okay, so let me read then, what my recommendations are, since it's gonna be, okay, so these will be the 4 points again. Establish a standing, I'm not repeating, so the second one that I changed. Charge the subcommittee with developing written guidelines governing the criteria and process by which capital project priorities are set, appropriation proposals are crafted and presented to the public, and procurement is conducted on capital projects.
okay, we like that.
Okay, so let me save this.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. We've had the public. Is there any more public that wants to speak out? Okay. We'll vote. Rayo?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Madonna, aye. 4-0.
Okay.
Yay.
So next is public health and safety is what I think this is the order in which the document itself is constructed. So here, my idea was that we now have an ambulance service that we're going to have this review process, well, the contract review process part of that to make sure the costs are managed properly. So why not extend this kind of model to the police and fire as well? So extend to police and fire the same cost of police and fire services, same cost review posture applied to the ambulance service is the general gist of what I thought could be a recommendation.
Okay.
So are you going to read these your?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Why don't we read our your bullet points?
Are you going to get it on the screen?
Share it on the screen with you.
We haven't practiced that yet.
Still it's showing screen. If it's on this computer, there would be, but I don't have it on.
If you join the Zoom, then you could promote yourself to participant and then do it, but that might be too difficult.
Yeah.
Well, it is on record, and then the packet will be provided later.
And in the future,
Yeah.
keep in mind, like information like this, it could be sent to the chair for the meeting, you're not violating any.
Right. No, I put this together at 4:30,
To
so yeah.
me, that's why to me a packet is important. It's because not just for us, for,
Just make a lot of extra process.
yeah,
Yeah. But also like, once we adopt everything, then we have what we voted on. Clear, present to the public as well.
well, it won't, how can you get it? It won't be to the public until the agenda packet for the select. board.
So that's right, so that's where.
Yeah,
here,
exactly,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, so that's where.
Yeah, you'll
yeah.
finalize it.
Yeah, that's right, so this gets finalized and then the select,
Yeah,
yeah, and it'll be there,
yeah.
yeah,
This agenda is already posted, but there isn't a restriction.
yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of details in this, this one I'm actually not as confident that, because I brought this as my notes, to some extent, I didn't, think that it would, that we'd be, voting on the language.
Well, we just got it at the beginning of the meeting. I haven't even read it yet.
Exactly.
So,
So for this one, maybe, let's talk about generalities first. Do we think it's a good idea to kind of have this like review process for the police and the fire? And let me explain that one of the reasons why this is here, like what was motivating, is that there's this discussion I mentioned last time that the police department might want a new police station. And the question that I had in the finance committee is, we already have this large debt that's coming with the school building. That we're all, that, that's a school district, but still our voters are on the hook for it. Can we then afford another large capital project as the police station? So maybe eventually we need a police station, but it seems like both of these two together might be different. So that was one motivation for this. The second motivation that led me to write this, and I think the language is quite common. So here, I think we want to change the approach, but the second reason is that are there inefficiencies or such so let me give a concrete example. I have heard that the amount we charge other towns for overnight stays in our the detention facility is quite low, like much less than what and the cost that our town is shouldering to do this, or providing a viable service to all of our surrounding towns by doing this. Shouldn't we then charge the other towns what it actually costs and for us to hold individuals in our facility, like in a police station? So that's where the idea behind, should we review some of the costs that are associated with running the police department, make sure that
We're not losing
that we're
money.
not losing a lot of money doing this, that we're not subsidizing things for other towns, or so that was another kind of motivation in my head. So that led me to think of this.
but Madonna, correct me if I'm wrong, because we were involved in the budget process. Revenue review was one of the topics that came
Right.
up, doing that, whether it's that fee or whether it's like, do we charge enough for a trash sticker,
Right.
and that sort of thing. So it's not solely the police, and everything. So that may be something that's already in the
Yeah.
works.
It might not be such a bad reminder.
Yeah,
It's not such a bad reminder. Yeah,
we always, expenses were always.
Yes.
But sometimes that gets dropped. The revenue side of it, it gets dropped, it gets so honed in
yeah,
on what we're spending.
right.
And I think another big part is kind of long-term thinking, because every year it seems like there's more things that suddenly we need another police cruiser, we need drones, or these things keep pop up every year. But if we normally you would want, if you have a multi-year spending strategy, then you can prioritize things over time. And it seems like especially when things start to involve large capital projects, I think we need to be able to stagger these large capital projects. So I'm wondering if the current way that we're doing capital projects allow for this kind of strategic thinking. So each of the various departments, they're kind of staggered. So maybe Elizabeth does this on her side. So maybe this is unnecessary, but that's something that I was thinking.
But it's also how we do capital projects.
Yeah,
We don't want to get into discussion on a new police station that hasn't been presented to
Right.
us yet. But if you look at other communities, and again, I work in Lennox, they have an emergency management center.
Yeah, they just.
I've never, even long before I was on any type of committee, I could not understand why we have a fire station here, police station, which to me is in one of the worst areas in Great Barrington. And if the ambulance squad comes in, they have an emergency management. So instead of looking at it in silos, like fire station, police station, ambulance or first responders or whatever, then maybe we should look at other models. But like a home budget, look at your expenses, you look at your revenue. Your revenue's falling short, how do we get more revenue? Yeah, I mean, that's just basic accounting. So,
Yeah.
I get what you're
Right.
saying, but
so I guess,
you're just, and the worst that's going to happen if you present something like this
yeah,
is the select board says, well, we're already
exactly, yeah.
in the process. That's,
Yeah.
You know, they're not married to this.
Yeah, so I guess I kind of retract naming this recommendation A, but I do think there should be something. Michelle, what you said, I think makes a lot of sense. I wonder if there's a kind of recommendation that we make goes along, like, thinking more about other ways we can run our, service more efficiently.
Yeah.
If that should be a
How
priority,
is
right?
that?
Yeah,
You know, sometimes it's not the what, it's the how.
right.
And that sort of thing, although I do like, I have just in my experience, the quarterly reporting or updates.
Yeah.
You know, you're not getting at a meeting, you're not getting in the just of it all. But they come forward and saying, this is where we're at right now. Hey, a cruiser just died, put it on. But I don't want to micromanage the
Yeah.
town manager,
Yeah,
you know, that sort of thing. But I personally myself, I'm not gonna speak for Madonna, again, just went through a brutal budget session. It's like, not to be, you know, right after the holidays, you sit down, whack, 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 you know, with all these things. It's like, yeah, remember back in June, they mentioned this was going on, you know, and we knew it was going to be coming. You could start formulating opinions and solutions, even that. So preparation is everything.
I mean, I think what you're rightly highlighting is that police and public safety in general has been a significant increase.
Mhm.
yes.
You brought it up
across-
during the last meeting.
Yeah, you brought this up in the
Yeah.
last meeting and looking at the numbers, it has been one of the more substantial drivers of cost increases.
Yes.
Even if Great Barrington is spending prudently and middle of the pack when compared with other towns, that bucket, just how significant it is means that it really is a high impact
Yeah.
tier one.
Yeah.
Because it is a significant driver of the
Right.
town's expenses.
Yeah. Jeff, do you have like in a language that, because previously we had a really nice language, you have like one for this one that kind of captures, maybe we can start as like a working draft of,
Absolutely.
yeah, capsule like this kind of, and let me add like a third another component I think kind of
Yeah.
gets at this. So on the, like, one, like how can, so what we're talking here, so I think there's two things that we're talking about. Like, one is that if you look at the data, the amount that's being spent on on this area has increased more than the rest of the budget. So that's this, and then number two is that are there ways of thinking of how we can provide service that can lead to efficiencies? Is whether that is combining the different services within our town, like since same building, or is it regionalization? Are there certain services we can share with other towns, like corresponder program? Can we share with other towns for that? Stockbridge and West Stockbridge, of course, joint fire department, like, is there a way that we can have more of a burden sharing, like training sharing, some kind of sharing that can allow us to lower costs instead of doing everything on.
That
Just
discussion
like,
comes
yeah.
up.
Yeah, shared
Yeah,
services.
yeah,
Right.
pursue efficiencies through shared services wherever
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
But at budget, Donna several times she brought that up.
Yeah.
Your point came right
Can we
out.
share?
She would, yeah, well.
Can we
you know,
share
yeah,
services?
Something would come up
Yeah.
and say, is this something that we could look at as far as sharing a service and different things? So that came up frequently during the budget.
But I think that's what this is, so I think that's then points to why we need this, is that it comes up in the budget meetings, but at that point, it's too late, right? We can't talk about sharing because it's.
Just intersected what
Yeah.
we're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so then if it's a strategic priority, then they'll be thinking about this like, in September rather than we discussing it in
And,
April.
and that's why I kind of like the idea, I don't know, of whether it would go over. That it's just like checking in, a check-in, on the job, you have committee meetings or whatever, or department meetings where you check in. This would just be another check-in, we're not gonna be criticizing or making high recommendations, it's like, okay, what's going on with the police department, what's going on with the fire department at this point? Okay, and then take a note and like, oh geez, the fire engine broke down again. And that, like the elevator at the town hall, that constantly breaks down. It does.
Yeah, I know,
You don't want to be in it.
right.
So how can we,
It seems like there's two things we want, is like, we want occasional check-in, and then we want these services, well, we want to explore cost savings, so these are the two
Yeah.
parts we want in this
I
recommendation.
agree.
How to craft that language then?
Is that just for public safety or does it apply more generally across
I mean,
everything?
it does apply more generally across everything, but because of the way this document is organized,
in
we
our
need it like,
task.
yeah, by these like,
Yeah,
buckets, right?
Yeah, what we're tasked with
Yeah,
right now. But you will see it during, as we get closer to budget season,
Yeah.
you'll see it start, stand. And
And so
But I-
should we just
Do it as-
recommend that, you know,
I have
that
no
police and public
that-
safety, you know, be considered for upgrade to tier one based on how significant a component it is of the town budget?
I hesitate to recommend a tier for things because it's just my opinion. For example, in the infrastructure and assets, we do not want to do that.
Like I remember, like from our last meeting, one of the things that Liz specifically encouraged us to do was make recommendations if we
To
feel,
move it up a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
that
I
it should be either
Right.
moved up or down, so
I
if that's
personally
the,
myself.
Yeah.
I don't feel qualified enough to do that. I mean, I know my perfect little world, but I'd like to see done when I'd like to see it done.
it's just a major
But I'll
budget drop.
defer to the committee.
Right. Well, I'm not, yeah, the tier one or tier two, I mean, maybe we don't even need tiers, we just have, this was important. I mean, that's understood but not expressed. This is what we feel is important.
And the select board isn't going to finalize all.
Right,
this,
right.
Tuesday night. They,
He'll read it over.
depending on who's there, may say our charges that the finance committee better clarify, or something. I mean, they can do that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just you do this long enough, you see it go back and forth. And, it's just my opinion.
So we would keep it at pretty much as is, right?
Yeah, this is just for condition A. Right.
Just for condition A?
Because he has a recommendation.
I know, but we just talked about recommendation B and that seemed to go
Yeah,
right,
that's true.
go right
Yeah, no,
along.
You're right.
Yeah, just consider upgrading to a tier one core priority, police and fire, along the same posture applied to the ambulance service. Is that a
so,
workable motion that gets something done?
but what about something like, simply like this? So now I have like 3 points. So 1 point, establish, so here I'm doing semi and rather than quarterly, because quarterly reporting is a lot. Or if you like quarterly, maybe we can go back to that. Establish semi-annual reporting to the select board from the town manager and department heads on public safety spending drivers. So that's 1. 2, develop a multi-year public safety capital forecast covering apparatus, covering, maybe just end it there. So capital forecast, we don't need to specify. And then 3, identify areas of, so it'd be direct staff. So we're counting the select board. So it'd be a direct staff to identify areas of potential savings and cost offsets, including possibility for regional burden and cost sharing of services. Simple like that, like 3 points.
Yep, cost sharing.
I gotta be honest with you, Rayo, I like it the way it's presented. And then now I'm looking at the strategic
Yeah.
priorities compared to this.
Yeah,
I think the tier 1 and tier 2 that you assigned is appropriate.
okay.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the way, but not everyone else may not be. And I know I said, let's encapsulate it, but there's no harm. I mean, the select board looks at far lengthier things presented
Well,
to
that's
it.
true.
I like it,
Oh, well,
And
if you like it.
I agree. And well, just my experience.
Yeah, no,
Listening to the select board, they're gonna discuss it, they're gonna, just like our policy, remember on debt? It was back and forth, we're talking one paragraph back and forth, but it was a important paragraph. And they didn't like what was presented first and back and forth, back
Yeah.
and forth. It's just what is done,
Yeah.
Do they appreciate just operationally, having more detailed recommendations or fewer so that then they can have more.
More than
leeway.
likely, if they have any suggestions or questions before they vote, they're gonna send it back to the finance committee for more detail. That's it, that they just said, we don't have a clue what they're talking about on this, even though we do. And we need more clarification from the finance committee. And then when Donna would be tasked to call it a meeting.
And if we give them more than, just a bullet
I
point,
agree. I agree, because you're going to end up elaborating a lot after the fact.
might be a
So,
time saver.
yeah, I have,
Yeah.
and it's not that much,
Right.
it's not heavy read.
Right.
And I'd be the first one to say, oh, God, here we go, 10 pages on, and again, I watched our meeting, the last meeting we had, I watched it again. There was deep discussion by Rayo and Jeff, I think you as well on this. Liz did a phenomenal job when she was presenting it. So we are working off of that discussion.
Right. Right.
So, and if anyone thinks the select board doesn't look at these meetings, you're mistaken. But how they, present it, or accept it, it's up to them.
Yeah, I just don't want them to see, something in writing and think that that's the exact framework that we're insisting upon,
No.
It's like higher level, but-
I rarely, I mean, a good example is the planning board, when they're doing work. I've sat in an entire planning board meeting over one sentence. I'm framing it just right, and then later they come back saying, oh, we thought it was good, but, Chris is a wonderful asset, that respect, as so. I'm just.
Well, I have faith in
find
the
out-
select
I'm
board doing,
comfortable-
yeah.
I'm comfortable with bringing this to the select board, so.
So should I make a similar motion as the first one? Do you like
Go
that?
right ahead.
All right, so make a motion to recommend to the town manager and select board that they extend as a tier 1 priority to police and fire the same posture applied to the ambulance service, considering the material as presented to the committee by Rare Society.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and second and the public to discuss and the public, if there's anybody with a hand raised. Sharon,
Question.
sure.
Revenue opportunities. Is this wrapped in this particular motion? I was just thinking that, we have a number of, Eileen reports on all the locked cars that we, unlock for everybody at no charge. It doesn't seem, there are all these opportunities, that I think should be looked at. And I don't know if this is the place to do it, but, when I talk to, some of our fire and police people, like, oh, what this is goodwill, we do this and that and so forth, and, we have the time to do it, and then we're like, oh, you're just a big budget here, and yes, might as well give free services, but I'm astounded at how many locked cars that every month we undo. And do that.
But and that is I thought in your proposal to look over the fee structure.
Yeah, that's,
And-
so I was asking.
I mean, personally, myself, I would not advocate to charge people to unlock their cars. A 2-year-old's in the back seat. Smash the window, but, it's just the way I feel. There are aspects of our town, I feel that should foster a sense of goodwill. And I think I myself have had, years ago, my daughter actually hit the automatic lock, when she was, back then, they didn't have what they have now. And the police officer at first he calmed me down, it was not a hot day, and he said Tori just thought it was the greatest thing, the police department being there, but it was a good service. And also toward my daughter saw the police as people who help them.
Yeah.
You know, and that sort of thing. So it's educational, I
It's
think. for
engendering
people.
goodwill.
Bill and that, you know, I know we're in a budget crisis, I get that. But, today people are getting nickel and dime for everything, and I get that. And I agree, you know, if a town, is, they have a prisoner and they're putting, or they arrested somebody, putting it at the station. Are what we're doing to pay to take care of that person, are we charging enough for, in reality, for that care? That's definitely,
My point is that, you know, when we have a policy, don't worry about it, you know, it's free. And we have as many as we do. Then I think it goes beyond everybody being like you. It's expected. And in Bridgehampton, basically everything's free, because we're rich anyway, that's what I hear all the
see, I
time.
don't,
Yeah, but I hear that, so anyway, any, you know, kind of revenue, way to box it, not everybody, but over a certain amount of times or whatever. If you would just take a look at it and consider these kinds of things. I think, well, the police used to say, we don't like to give tickets because it reduces tourism. And we had a whole town manager meeting and everything else up. So I think addressing things helps to just bring up a discussion that may be assumed to be continuing, that they should be looked at.
but I think for this purpose, it's too precise.
Yeah.
Because he said, you know, we want, you know, I just speaking for myself, and I don't want to go, okay, you know, the joke about Alfred Road, the toll tax, whatever.
Dog left my car door.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think for the purpose of this, we don't want to get too far in the.
No,
weeds,
I just wanted to
You're right.
extend a thought that, you know, the revenue opportunities we look
Right.
at.
That's what kind of awesome.
Right.
Yeah, and like, fundamentally, I'd like to know what are the cost drivers? Why is like public safety going up so much compared to everything else? Like, I think.
That's
the
more
Ford
general
report-
question,
Yeah,
that could come up during
Exactly.
that general question, yeah.
yeah.
You didn't
That's-
hear?
No, and I said, I think the main thing we want to know is, you know, public safety costs has been going up relative to everything else. So the question is, why are we spending more on public safety as a percentage of our spending over the past decade? Like, what has been the primary driver of that cost?
Right,
And I think this kind of like reporting and stuff
Yeah.
would help. So I think those are the, you know, then once we see the data, we can start to have discussions about, okay,
Yeah.
what's really this cost
exactly,
driver?
I agree with that.
Go ahead.
A few years ago, somebody brought up at town meeting that we look at, smaller cars, energy efficient cars and so forth, and kind of that got shut down really fast. And it's not appropriate at town meeting, but if there are things that we should question, because definitely we just say yes to whatever, you know, we can afford and ask for. That's what everybody tells me. So, I don't know what the overall recommendation would be, but be open to alternative ways that we would address, the transportation of facilities that might be more cost effective.
Would this, can you elaborate what you mean? I'm not clear.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
you're referring to.
So, you know, I related to it because I saw at Big Wide parking lot, a Sheffield police car that was kind of a smaller size car. So somebody asked at the annual town meeting, how come we don't look at, you know, some of our, or even one car that might be just kind of going up and down Hollenbeck Avenue or whatever.
For Division C.
Right.
And they,
How about a Honda Fit as opposed to an SUV? Right?
Small police officer.
Yeah. I mean, but
Fit
I,
a lot of
I
stuff
think,
there.
I think that's something like, I mean, like, again, for the purposes of this document, it's incorporating what Rayo said about it, looking at how we're spending our money
Yeah.
and.
Right.
generating our-
And also sharing services, and I
Yeah,
think we
yeah,
were,
at
we
all
were,
times.
we were on that not everybody can have a new vehicle, you know, I
And
mean,
even during the budget meeting, remember they were talking about that, the police vehicle that's a truck?
the truck,
Yeah,
And I have had experience where, for example, there was one experience, someone had an automated wheelchair, one of those, scooters.
Right.
And they're big, and trying to get it in the back of an SUV was like, I was there, I saw the officer trying to, it stalled, I guess they went out of power or something. In my head, a vehicle that is multi-purpose, you get bang for the buck, that could easily happen into the back of the truck and everything. But those are discussions during the
Yeah.
budget season
Right.
we had, we
Yeah.
did.
but then we can also, once again, discuss the shared services
So,
like
yeah.
like we did about the
Yeah.
animal
We
crates.
did,
the long-term drivers.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
we did do that.
So I guess we're.
Anything else? We have, anybody
Oh,
else?
we need to,
Phil?
We're okay.
Anything else?
we should vote on this.
Okay,
Yeah, but-
so, all right, so we had
Well,
motion,
we already
vote,
had the motion,
Yeah.
second.
okay,
Okay,
so vote.
aye.
Jen.
Aye.
Michelle, I'm an I, that's recommended, 4-0. Okay.
Yep.
Moving on. I had Rayo.
So,
House.
next I have housing. And here is, so I was looking at housing, there's affordable housing, but attainable housing is not there. So what I thought as important, the priority for us is add attainable home ownership, housing reachable by middle income households as a distinct objective alongside the plan's existing affordable and workforce, housing work. So the reason why I think this is particularly important at this juncture is that we recently adopted the seasonal community designation, and this unlocks funding to create to help with various housing programs. That's I think 250% of what it costs to like live in this area. I think. Right, right. So that the pot of money associated with that comes from the state can be used basically for attainable housing as opposed to affordable housing. So I think now's a good time to add strategies about attainable housing to our housing goals, and maybe make it tier 1, because I do think we have an attainable housing problem. Of course, in the United States, but also in our town. Make it possible for people that earns like a middle class income to buy a home, and that's attainable housing. So what can we do to help that? It would be that goal.
I agree.
And may I make a suggestion? There's a whole segment of our population, and it came up during our last meeting about aging in place. And I'm among that group. Lived here all my life, will I be able to stay here as I age? And I see that getting further pushed out. And then, like I said, I'm being forthright, saying I'm in that group. So we have affordable housing, we have workforce housing.
Yeah.
We have what you were just, but what about the people who have lived here for decades or born and raised here? Live here, have contributed to the tax, but they're getting squeezed.
Yeah, but what do you call that area of policy? A name for
Well,
aging?
all of aging in place would fall under, to stay in their homes, would fall under housing.
Yeah,
So,
But,
I agree. We want to be supportive throughout someone's life cycle. You should be
I'd
able to
like to do
spend your
more
whole.
study of that, to be honest with you. Yeah, what are the segments of that? Housing crisis and, and also. I think you may have just, because I think you looked at it, I didn't have to say everyone in here. What is middle income? What's middle income to, so do you have the data on that? Because you mentioned the PMI.
there is a state data on
Well,
this.
Go ahead, Phil, no, please, Phil.
I guess what I would say, mostly corporate profit,
Yeah.
mostly company
Yeah,
have affordable housing trust. And have all likelihood of a separate seasonal housing trust, which may or may not be a different entity, maybe the same important. So we got to figure that out. And then there's a lot of data, all the data, particularly for our area, that has been discussed a lot, has false. Is it, when we talk about area median income, Great Barrington, it's, with Sheffield, it's all very different. So it's really important, it's really complicated, it's really complex. And, so I just, in terms of the scope of what you're putting together, think for myself, I would just think about how deep you want to go with the house. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Well, we're
Maybe
tossing it
it's
to you,
just-
Phil, at some point.
Maybe it's just as simple as adding the word attainable.
Attainable. I like,
You know,
I like
because
that word.
It already covers affordable and workforce and aging in place.
Yeah.
So it's the
Yeah.
middle income.
Yeah, the attainable, so, yeah.
yeah, I like that. And just a point at the last meeting, I think it was cross-reference to the Berkshire Regional, I think it's Berkshire Regional Planning Commission.
Mhm.
It is the data store. It was Chris, I think Chris lives by it, Chris Rumble. I agree, kind of agree with Bill, you know, as far as we're not experts on housing.
No, but this is really the man on the street, the woman on the street where you meet people. This is what they want. They want attainable housing for their kids
Attainable and retainable,
and, right,
to retain their house.
and to retain, correct.
Because I was just
Correct.
talking to you, were talking about people on the street. On Monday, I was talking to somebody, built his house 50 years ago, and he says, I may have to sell it.
Yeah.
And that this is the group, and I
Right.
say this every.
I know you
weekend
do, that's
after
true,
my husband.
but that's a
People are in
hot
and out of our
topic.
Driveway all weekend. And this person I spoke to on Monday, and I'm, because he knows I live in a family home instead.
right.
And he said, well, I built my house. And
Right.
he said, I may have to walk away from it.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah,
think it's
people really-
attainable and retainable.
Right,
And I would like to have that.
I think
You
having,
could
right,
say instead of adding attainable home ownership, because I think this town is actively doing that. But I'd like to add the words and retainable.
and retainable, okay.
I don't think attainables, as far as when I read that, attainable wasn't on there. There's affordable, and there's workhouse. There wasn't, so.
But she wants to be able to attain it
Right.
and retain it
So-
and keep it going.
Right, so how about,
And or,
Right.
say and or.
I think and,
Is
I think and
retainable
is
housing a thing?
What's that?
Is
Attainable?
Retainable housing,
Well, that's aging in place.
right, so it's
I want to
already,
retain my home.
right, so that is already
Sustained.
covered and contemplated in the tier one of what they have in there. So,
Is it?
yeah, I mean, it's right in the bold at the top. So all we need to add is attainable, and then we have affordable, attainable, workforce, aging in place.
Okay,
So,
but I
Okay,
was
so-
talking specifically, okay,
so what if we
it
just,
has attainable, I guess I'm just a little.
so attainable, I think is missed. So what if we, so recommend this for this one, this will be nice and short. What if we simply say add attainable housing by middle income households as a distinct objective alongside the plan's existing affordable and workforce housing strategy?
Okay, yeah.
Because then we cover everything, and I think we're in agreement that attainable housing, and you said like, you know, living in place is already in there. So then
Yeah,
attainable
okay.
housing is the one thing that's missing right now, like the
do you
strategy.
wanna state that as a
Okay.
motion?
So, I'd like to make a motion, no, how did we state it before, to recommend to the select board
And town manager.
and town manager. To add attainable housing by middle income households as a distinct objective alongside the plan's existing affordable and workforce housing strategy.
Second,
Do we have a person second? Any more discussion from us or?
Yeah, I'm not,
Okay,
I'm not.
okay. Anybody in the public? Okay,
you're not on board with adding the word attainable?
No, it's just, I'm not seeing. what I'm talking about
The
here. I'm looking at
retainable
the
or
strategic priorities.
So let's keep working on that.
Because no, I agree that what you talked about is important. I thought it was in here. Let's make sure it's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at.
Oh.
what Rayo's
So it says, so, no, this is like the actual, select boards, so it says tier one, high impact core priorities,
Yeah, that's
affordable
what
and
I'm
workforce housing dash aging in place.
Okay,
so it's in there.
So, yeah, aging in place is, although, is it in a bullet point, continuing? resistance?
Yeah,
It's not really in the bullet.
No, it's
yeah.
not the bullet, I guess that's the problem.
I
Okay, so,
didn't, I
yeah.
don't think there's any harm in reiterating.
Yeah, okay, so
And
let's
so-
change my motion.
Emphasizing, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
retract your first
underscore.
motion.
I'm gonna retract my first motion and then,
Or Michelle could just suggest an amendment to add aging in place.
Or so we could retract the motion, we can continue our discussion.
Okay,
yeah, so
and
let's
then once
continue
we
our
got it,
discussion.
Make a
Yeah.
motion
Okay.
for it. Cause you could say,
Hold on, let me,
I know what you could, because they reference affordable. And they state attainable housing options. You wanna add. You know, you can reiterate what's in here, the strategic priorities.
And better emphasize aging in place.
Well, just say, recommending. In addition to affordable and workforce housing and aging in place. Under attainable homeownership. Making attainable homeownership for the middle income households and moving on after that. The introduction into the paragraph. You could reiterate what's already in the strategic priority with the addition of with additional focus on attainable home ownership. It's the way it's segmented in that line. I'm trying to be respectful of Rayo's work.
how about we, yeah, how about something like this?
And who has more detail than?
There's. Okay, so what if we, so how about this as a recommendation? Add attainable housing by middle income households as a distinct objective alongside the strategic plan's existing affordable and workforce housing strategy, period. We also recommend developing concrete plans for attainable housing and aging in place as part of the strategic plan.
Yeah, I agree.
Concrete plans, not plans, like what's a bullet point, concrete.
Just emphasis in the strategic plan on aging in place.
Okay, yeah, one way, we also recommend emphasis in the strategic plan for aging, but that's better, yeah, we recommend aging in place. We recommend emphasis. Aging in place as part of the strategic plan, we also, okay, how's this? Okay, I'm gonna read it again.
Yeah,
Add attainable housing by middle income households as a distinct objective alongside the strategic plan's existing affordable and workforce housing strategy, period. We also recommend emphasis on aging in place as part of the strategic plan.
okay,
Yep.
that works.
All right.
So that's the motion.
Okay, so-
no,
So-
just
Oh,
what you
what?
just presented. Did
Oh.
you make the motion?
So I make a motion to present what I just said to the select board.
I second what you just said. And the town manager.
Okay, any other comments from us? How about the Phil, anybody?
Yes, just, I mean, this is a really difficult issue. But I'm also thinking, until we get childcare, until we get medical care settled, until we get a lot of those things settled, I don't know, if we can fix it that easily.
Oh, you have to give your name and your address.
What?
You just have to give your name and address, so
Oh, I'm
that's on
sorry,
the record. What?
Flag Rock, Lynn Nemeth,
That's right. No, I know
You
you.
know
I,
that.
I know you.
but, and also, Social Security, we don't even know if we're gonna have that. There's a lot of stuff going on right now that kind of keeps us from being able to do some of this stuff. It's very, very difficult. So I'm glad everybody's, I mean, I'm thrilled as an elderly person that we have elderly housing. I'm grateful. Massachusetts is one of the better states for that kind of thing. We have number one and number two, health and education in the country. So I know what I'm grateful for, but this whole other thing is gonna be a real difficult. thing.
Right. Well, we're
That's
starting.
my question.
Thanks, Lynn.
That's something.
Anybody else? Oh,
Jeez, hold on, let me, hold on. Well, what do I do? We say allowed to talk. Oh, and that's allowed to talk, okay.
hey, James. Can you hear us?
84, yes, James Barzone, 84 North Lane Road. I guess the other problem I see in our community is having people come and help you with your homes when you have issues with the house, maintenance, electricians, plumbers. We all know how expensive it's become. And for someone who's aging in place to be able to afford any type of service or even get someone to come out to service your boiler in the middle of the winter or something is really problematic. So I wish there was some way we could figure out that solution. I know it's probably unsolvable, but that's a big problem that I've seen. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else need to talk?
Let me see.
Good point, Lynn.
To
Any,
this is permission to talk, okay.
So
okay,
I'm ready to vote.
I think we're
okay, we're ready to vote
ready to vote.
on the motion. Everybody's spoken. Rayo,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
No, I'm an aye. 4-0 to 5. Okay, Rayo's. Okay, then we get to the next section, which is economic development. Rayo, would you like to make that presentation?
Yes, so for this, one of my motivation was that, well, when people in general think of the Berkshires, they think Lennox. Why don't they think of Great Barrington more? Like, why can't, because I think we, in the town or the Chamber of Commerce also does not seem to have a really good strategy for promoting Great Barrington as a tourist destination. I see this is important because we have the meals tax that helps offset other spending sources, and then we also have the rooms tax. And I don't think our hotels and such are full as those in Lennox. So, and also in past like select board meetings, there's a discussion about what about more hotel development. So it doesn't make sense to promote hotel development and such unless we have more tourists that recognize Great Barrington as a place to come, and then maybe their centers from they can stay in Great Barrington and go to like surrounding areas in Southern Berkshires. But it seems like more of a strategy needs to be done for Great Barrington to promote Great Barrington, basically. And I know that the town manager had wanted to create a long-term 10-year strategic plan, hiring consultants. So this whole process that she has in mind, I think, that's great. We probably eventually need to do that. But also, isn't there something else we can do more on the cheap and with local talent that could help this? And one thing I thought is in this community, we have a lot of people that work in like advertisement. We have a lot of people that work in entertainment. We have these individuals with tremendous insights and know-how on how to do this kind of advertising campaign and such. So what if we create some kind of a subcommittee to bring this kind of local talent? So whoever would volunteer to serve on this, and to help the kind of start to craft some kind of a strategy for promoting Great Barrington as part of an economic development strategy. So before we talk about, the zoning with hotels and such, maybe we need first to have some kind of like a strategy for promoting Great Barrington as a tourist destination. Was like behind this.
But we did have an economic development committee. With Sharon and.
That wasn't on it, but you have.
Yeah,
It didn't really,
large committee, was it not?
I think it was too large. I think that was.
Yeah, all right, yeah, I'm going by memory here, and I know,
I went to all the meetings. This is the one that decided to disband because it didn't have a website. And the town would find its own website, and therefore they could possibly get anything done.
So I do think maybe a new economic development plan, a committee, like a smaller committee, because the problem with large committees, you don't get much done. And also one that's supported by the town. So that's why I think it makes sense to be in a strategic priority. So that's,
Phil?
I guess.
Well, 1 second, Eileen, Phil's got his hand up.
Bill Ornstein,
Phil,
myself, it's a terrific idea. Big picture, I think it's a great idea to see if we can do something in that subject outside of government. I think there are a lot of very creative people in town, full-time, part-time. And I think trying to corral all that creative energy within constraints, the formal town committee, open meeting law, it then kind of gets messy. So and Ian, I don't know who would do it, but if we try to get some of that creativity and brainstorming flowing without doing it sort of separate from the government.
But what about the chamber?
That's, yeah,
Yeah,
chamber.
that's what, because we have an excellent chamber of commerce.
Oh, that's the only one possible.
Yeah, and to have rather than an offshoot of the town of Great Barrington, an offshoot of the Chamber of Commerce. Because I don't agree with quasi committees, I don't, like, and I know what you're saying, because I think what drowned that committee was it just got overwhelmed and everything. And,
after you
Yeah.
talk, Eileen wants to.
but that's why I was just wondering. Consult with the chamber and have an I don't know why the chamber couldn't have a committee that would help. You know,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if there's
I
structure.
don't know enough about what the.
Yeah, exactly,
staff
yeah.
is doing, but I just. Trying to get this process moving within the constraints of the municipal. Massachusetts state. Municipal.
Yeah, I get it.
Meeting law and all that fun stuff.
And I'm just a little nervous about committee exhaustion,
Yeah.
you know, that's come up before. Just there is a finite number of people. Who are serving on committees, and Phil, you probably know better than anybody, because the select board by duty is serving on multiple. You know,
So hopefully my, may not agree with my point, but hopefully I made it.
yeah, now it's valid.
Eileen,
Why limit it to tourism?
pardon?
Why limit this to tourism? Why not also go for businesses?
Well, I think the businesses are already contemplated in the strategic plan. I agree that establishing Great Barrington as a destination is not really contemplated in the strategic plan. But again, I don't think we need to micromanage it to this level, but I do think that in the goal statement, I'm gonna read what's on the paper right now, which is foster a vibrant, resilient local economy that supports small businesses, creative industries, and equitable opportunities for growth. I think that adding a comma and establishes Great Barrington as a destination
Oh, that's good.
is worthwhile.
That's actually a good idea to incorporate.
So personally, if the committee's into that idea, I would recommend that we recommend that be added to the goal for economic development, but not go.
Okay,
more
say it
deeply
again,
into-
foster a vibrant, resilient local economy that supports small businesses, creative industries, and equitable opportunities for growth.
Equitable opportunities for growth and establishes Great Barrington as a destination.
Where is that?
In the town of Great Barrington Strategic Priorities Plan, this one, under economic development. Would that be suitable as a motion?
Hold on, just to the end.
And establishes Great Barrington as a destination.
Yeah. Okay, with a capital D. I love that. I love that idea. It is.
Capital
Great
D.
Barrington is such a destination. Like when I'm sitting at the top of Railroad Street, just looking down that iconic view, thinking how gosh darn lucky I get to live here. I really feel like people come here and they feel like they have found something really special. And I know it adds to traffic in the summer, but we know we're a destination.
But-
Let's establish it as a goal. You know, to use the fact that we're a destination as an economic development driver.
Working in Lennox and living here, it's like I'm sandwich, but and I don't know, I mean, I grew up here. A lot of people who are new there don't realize Railroad Street was like the red light district. of
Oh,
Great
yeah.
Barrington. And you say, you were told by your parents, you go nowhere near Railroad Street.
Wow.
There was, we had a motorcycle gang that was on the street and everything. No, these were tough guys, you know, you were gonna mess with them enough to see, and I tell you, I remember I'd be going out the door, my mother says, you go anywhere near Railroad Street, you're in trouble, and that was it.
Wow.
So,
Oh,
there used to be a lumber yard.
Look at us now.
Where the tripods.
Yes, but you have to remember too, in 2013, Great Barrington was named the best small town.
Mhm.
And I put on an art show with Marie Dickey at the Mason Library. We raised $10,000 because our theme was Great Barrington, the best small town in America. So everybody got brought us art that showed, more about why you completed Railroad Street with that.
Very nice.
And what's his name, Donaldson took a picture. I love that. So it's, it's a big. I think that we can.
Should we make a motion?
Yeah.
We don't necessarily beat it to death, but, I just wanted to move it away
So-
from.
Well, those are the ideas that we need to raise awareness and maybe some revenue for the pet projects and that benefit everybody.
And then it just as a side note, like your own personal growth, you can't always rest on your laurels. This was
Right.
2013.
Right.
It's like being a swimsuit model in 2013, I'm not one now. So, you have to stop for a minute. What are you going to do to?
I'll put you on the calendar.
Okay.
No, you will.
But so
Yeah.
it's like, we're a different town now. I remember what it was like back in 2013. And is it the best small town in America for everyone in Great Barrington? I think that's getting harder, more and more difficult to achieve. And I think that's what town leaders are trying to rectify. They're trying to level the playing field in Great Barrington.
So just quickly to impress, so we don't really have a motion on the floor that we're discussing.
But we
Should I make the motion so that we
What-
can?
what the-
Right, so then,
Oh, you got
He
it.
was going to read.
so I was gonna read, but I thought I'd add one other thing because I really like, so let me propose it.
Yeah.
And
we'll
then,
discuss
and then
it.
we'll open and then I'll turn to Vivian because
Yeah.
she has a hand. Okay, so here's the motion that I'm proposing, that we should recommend to the select board the following recommendation. First, add words and establishes Great Barrington as a destination to the end of the economic development goal. 2, work with the Chamber of Commerce to take the lead on developing and implementing a strategy for promoting Great Barrington as a tourist destination, taking advantage of local expertise to develop and implement the strategy. So this is going to, I think, working with Chamber of Commerce, because I think more can be done to take advantage of the chamber and expertise. So I think that should be its own kind of
Yeah.
bullet that we add there.
It's a resource.
Yeah.
It's another, or a partner.
Yeah,
Perfect.
so that would be my,
And you,
motion.
I mean, that's, I mean,
Then whose action is it to work with the Chamber of Commerce?
Well, we're recommending that we feel that that's a strategic priority. So that the select board can reject it or accept
Yeah.
it.
and expand it.
Or expand
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
right.
everything. I'm just curious, the bullets that you have on the handout, are those going?
so those are going, so things I'm.
Right, to
right,
keep it simple?
Yeah.
To-
Exactly.
okay.
So for the
All right.
first and the second, the bullets remain because we voted on some
Yeah,
real
yeah, yeah.
language, but for the other ones, they're all going when we're just presenting what we're wanting here. And
Okay.
actually, Jeff, you make a really good point. Do you want to make an amendment by saying like, town manager work with or something like that, or?
Well,
I don't know.
mean,
She
It's
has-
kind of like, yeah,
So if I can be frank, the amendment I would want to make is just to keep it to part one of what you said and to not specifically call out the Chamber of Commerce, because, well, the reason I bring it up is, you make a good point about all the various stakeholders that could be engaged. So if you say Chamber of Commerce as a distinct entity, it leaves out the good ideas to talk to
Yeah.
other institutions, lodging operators, the business community.
Or
in
could you
general.
say the Chamber of Commerce and others,
Such
such as the Chamber of Commerce and?
but I agree with Jeff and I agree with Jeff, you wanna, and the thing is, it's not a one and done.
Yeah.
For the select board, and again, they could say, all right, can you make a suggestion, who are you talking? And we could say, well, we were thinking, and the Chamber of Commerce would be a helpful resource. They may say, well, we know this, we know that. So I know where Jeff's going on it. He wants to give more flexibility.
And I think
what
that
is done, yeah.
that simplicity is also responsive to Phil's counsel and what he's experienced.
Except I do, so I keep going, so the reason why I'm insisting on the Chamber of Commerce is that I do think we're underutilizing that, because the Chamber of Commerce is like the main vehicle for a lot of this tourist promotion happens in other places, but our chambers seems like it's, so that's why I think maybe we need something there, but should we do, yeah.
Yeah, Phil?
Oh, wait, Vivian actually had her hand raised for a while, so
Just
let me.
an idea, to make it work, I think. Well, within, what, say that, should consider asking the chamber to come talk to the plans committee.
Yeah.
Get their sense about what they do, what they're not doing, and what they're thinking of with their role in all this. I know that I've never had any real interaction with them in my public and private stuff, so I think it would be a great idea to ask them.
Well, we can always.
Yeah, that's a good idea, so this.
Because the finance committee can invite
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah.
We have that
Well,
flexibility.
we'll put that on
so
there.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
let's put down the agenda. So for this, we'll just keep it simple to what Jeff said.
Yeah,
So
that's how I
I'm gonna
agree.
amend my motion to just the first point. And then, we'll, so this is separately. We'll just
So
have
you're
the chamber.
removing the
Yeah.
chamber, yeah.
Okay.
We want to ask,
So yes, so
oh, we need the motion.
Second.
You want a second, can I second motion?
Yes.
No one did, all right, I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second.
Second.
We've chatted,
and what
Yeah.
Vivian.
but we need to get Vivian.
Yeah, okay,
And then Sharon, you can, okay?
okay. Vivian.
Hi,
Okay, Vivian, hi.
hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
Great, always checking. I'd like to suggest adding one aspect to this motion, and that's in recognition of our unique heritage from great Barrington native W.E.B. Du Bois and his vision of African American economic prosperity through cooperative economic enterprises. This was a subject presented by a scholar from New York, Jessica Gordon Nebhart, who wrote a book called Collective Courage, who studied how under very difficult economic conditions and legal and social adversaries, native people and those with African American heritage were able to form cooperative enterprises to help them survive an otherwise oppressive system. And this became the 2017 very well attended by almost 300 people by the Southern Berkshire Clergy Association for Martin Luther King Day, called Reclaiming Our Cooperative Heritage. And we see remnants of this now in things like the Berkshire Food Co-op, the Cooperative Bank, and also the very prosperous Berkshire Greylock Credit Union, which is a form of a cooperative. And this is an aspect of business that can rise when things are difficult, and we may be facing some difficult financial situations for our business community and for our consumers, our customers. And I would like to suggest adding drawing on
Say it again. Say
drawing on our
what you wanted to add.
drawing on our cooperative heritage. Did I get cut off or?
No. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I thought the way you phrased it right in the beginning. So you want to add,
The Berkshire,
adding-
Berkshire region
ahead.
has a unique heritage from Great Barrington native W.E.B. Du Bois and his vision of African American economic prosperity through cooperative economic enterprises. Now, this is not just for our African American population, but this is for everybody. But at his time, he was facing, W.E.B. Du Bois was. He was facing his people and their much more difficult situation. But it applies to anyone in who's facing financial and economic challenges.
Thank you, thank you. Good point.
I think it's a very good point. And I think in some ways, you know, Great Barrington as a destination includes the
Right.
fact that it is the, you know, childhood home of one of its most famous
I know.
residents, W.E.B. Du Bois.
And I think we're getting way too specific. I think what Jeff, I like.
But it is an idea that we haven't, that nobody else brought. Yeah.
Like Jeff and Rayo have presented a generalized.
Right.
And that's, then when it moves forward, it becomes more
Okay.
fine tuned.
And I know Sharon, you wanted to say something. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, speaking in terms of making Great Barrington a destination site, you know how we have banners on our Main Street, you know, W. Du Bois or, you know, whatever the event du jour is?
Mhm.
Why don't we have a Great Barrington month, like May, and, you know, the only thing we got budget for are those banners or whatever, but just to give people ideas to have, you know, the artist something, the, you know, whatever, something. And I just wanna say that the Chamber of Commerce, you know, this is Southern Chamber of Commerce, so it's not, the Pittsfield Chamber of Commerce, and the thing is, you know, the Pittsfield one, I thought was big deal and everything, but I think there were so many competing things that they finally just consolidated them.
Hmm.
And in terms of the Southern Berkshire Chamber of Commerce, I know many people have fallen off the memberships, and I don't know if it's too expensive or whatever, but I'm not sure we should expect a whole lot from them. But instead, if the town can declare, you know, May the Great Barrington month or whatever month it is, and let people provide events and cards or whatever they have, without, with this, the town generally coordinating this testing.
Thank you, thank you. Okay,
Are we presenting, oh,
so,
Vivian has her hand up. Or this must be from before. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me,
okay, so we have a motion.
as it stands,
Yeah.
it's not being changed, but as you read it.
yes, I think any specifics, it's best addressed to the select
Yeah,
board
I
because
agree.
they're the ones
I
that
agree.
create the
Yeah.
actual the strategic plan. For
Yeah.
ours, it's more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So we have first and a second, and we've heard from the public. Was somebody else?
No, it's a bit, I think Vivian,
Left your hand.
she
Did she-
left her.
But did you want to double check with her?
Okay, yeah, let me,
Because, yeah,
allow
just to make
talk
sure.
there. There we go. Vivian, is your hand up from?
Yes,
you should-
thank you. I wasn't suggesting anything as what I said, just as background. I was just suggesting using the word along with, businesses, cooperatives, because it's a special, it's being overlooked. That's all. My background was to give context for why I'm raising it, but I'm just asking for a word or two so that what we're talking about includes cooperatives rather than just the type of businesses which are the vast majority, or people think of large corporations on the other hand. But this is something.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay, so she added that like cooperative
Yeah.
in addition to,
She-
it supports small businesses, cooperatives,
I have,
create- creative industries.
it's just one other facet.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Vivian.
Okay, let's,
So do we want to just amend that motion? Okay,
Yeah, the word-
I'll make a motion, I'll make an amendment to
You have
the,
to wait, you have to.
we have to withdraw.
Withdraw.
Okay, we have to-
should we finish this one, then, conclude that and then a new motion if we wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah, let's conclude this
So let's conclude this one, okay.
Okay.
So,
Well, this week, let's be thoroughly out of order and. That one, but when we advocate, excuse me, project line. For the purpose of.
Oh.
Radio, something.
No, go ahead.
Have so much talent. Resources, but I've reached out to people in the past with different things. And the response that I got was, this is a community that asks for so much for no longer. Everyone is tapped out, it's a budget line item to buy everyone support. I'm just curious with that to component of.
I would never support that.
I'm just,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I'm just
but it's-
asking, I'm just putting that out as a guide.
Yeah, we're, we're not in a position, we have people volunteer
Yeah.
on the boards, tons of boards and committees and everything. And, yeah,
We've talked about it in budget season, trying to be more creative, just.
creative, yeah,
That-
right, no.
That, you know, if we can figure out how to be our town, all of it, right? And then, you know.
Part of that has been, how do we recruit on boards and committees? Look at it, our finance committee, we have 2 new members. Jeff, you didn't have any previous board committee experience in town. I don't think Rayo did, and look, they're sitting on our finance. committee. So we did, and you did you as well. So obviously something went right, and then you look at that, you go, I think it's a discussion to have as far as volunteerism. It's like, what appealed to you? You know, you asked me, I've been doing it for a while. Madonna has, it's everything, but you're new, so what appealed to you to serve?
They wanted to serve with us, Michelle. Yeah, they did.
Jeff's a rose
Yeah,
between.
it was us. It was us.
But, so that's, I think we're on the right track with that. Because Liz suggesting, let's run this again, as far as recruiting members on the finance committee. But like, she was the one that suggested we run the ad again and extend it
Right,
and everything, and that's where, we made our recommendation, so.
okay, so we're going to,
vote on the original motion, it's just the one line, adding the thing.
okay,
Aye.
Aye.
all right,
I'm
so
lost.
you gotta, say it
So
again.
Let me,
Why are we voting on a motion, why aren't we? Are we amending?
He wanted to just,
so,
He withdrew.
did you withdraw it?
no, so basically, why don't I clarify what we're voting on, so.
Okay.
We are, since I withdrew my amendment, we are simply voting on Jeff's original motion, which is add the words and establishes Great Barrington as a destination to the end of the economic development goal. It's just those words adding to the end is what we're voting on.
Yep, that's.
So, but that does not include what Vivian was mentioning about
No.
cooperatives.
Correct.
Because her point, as I understood it, the point is that we have lots of cooperatives.
No, I
Right,
understand that,
right.
of the motion, I'm a little confused how the motion's being done.
It doesn't include the cooperatives. So
Right, so why aren't we just doing a motion including the cooperatives? Is there a motion?
He
on
would-
the floor?
well,
I
that
thought
was
it was
what he
first.
just, there was.
No, because the original motion was not withdrawn, so we still have to wrap up the original motion.
But you can withdraw.
You
I
could,
withdrew my amendment to the original motion, which
And you
is
can withdraw your motion.
not the original
don't-
one hasn't been withdrawn, because that was Jeff's motion.
I mean,
Oh, it was Jeff's.
Yeah, I
don't
motion. Oh,
believe
Sorry,
that-
I thought it was yours.
so,
Sorry, Jeff.
so again, I think cooperatives make a lot of sense, but I also don't want to get too deep into the weeds of something that the select board and the town manager have labored on. So that's why you know, I think if we are trying to exhaustively name every type of
Like farm
organizational
standards.
structure,
Yeah,
you know, right,
yeah.
you know, Girl Scout troops, I think it would become
Yeah,
a
I
very
get it, I
unruly
get it.
goal state.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I get it.
So Jeff,
So-
you want to restate your original motion
Yeah,
so
would
we're
you mind?
clear on like what we're, voting on?
All right, so, well, I'm restating what I think your motion was, because you were the one that made the motion, and Michelle seconded it. I thought it was a great motion, great second. To add to the,
Thank you.
to add and establish Great Barrington as a destination to the end of the economic development goal
Yeah.
statement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now there's a motion. We know what it is. We've seconded it. Vote. Ray, Jeff,
Aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. One more left to go.
We're getting things done though.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Recommended 4-0.
And
Okay.
Before we go any further, I know we're going into municipal service delivery and I just don't want things to get away from us before we. And because I noticed sustainability and environment,
Oh, yeah.
that's what I was wondering if we have time to discuss that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I didn't
okay.
I didn't have an idea for that, but of course we should
That's
discuss
what
it.
I was wondering. I
Okay.
just didn't want to go, we
Right.
get going on it, so I just wanted to
Okay.
interject that.
No, we'll be fast.
Okay. You guys, so for
Okay.
this one, I didn't really have anything to add per se. In fact, maybe one thing. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys, the rest of you have things you want to recommend on that point to changing the strategic plan.
Needed-
Oh, no, well, one before that, we're looking at whether we want to make any recommendation regarding sustainability and
Oh.
environment,
You're working on that one?
I don't have one for that, so that's.
That's what, I thought we could just do your municipal service delivery, then go back to sustainability, so we can have, because we don't have we don't have something in front of us.
Right.
Have a maybe
Right, unless
richer
anybody else has.
discussion on it.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah, then,
It's up to the chair,
No,
what you think.
I'm good.
should we skip it then?
But like, we seem to have a good structure going here.
Right, right,
I just didn't want to skip over that.
right, right.
That's-
Okay, so we'll,
that's all.
so it'll just be what that is, you know?
Well, do you want to do municipal service delivery, then go back and look at?
Sure, let's do the
Yeah,
5.
yeah, I agree,
Okay.
I agree. with you.
Okay, so we're gonna
Okay,
go to municipal services
Is that the just on four?
delivery.
so here's the big one.
Yeah.
In some ways,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
I was thinking like, where do we add the school? Because that's really the big driver, and then I think it needs to be defined somewhere, and I think it was Liz's recommendation, right? That maybe this is where it could go, because we were talking about this last time.
Right,
And such, and I have these bullet points, but, so there's, of course, we know there's two real big issues here. One is the largest structural issue, which is like how much each of the towns pays in terms of the school budget. So that's one issue. The other issue is more immediate, which is the annual school budget, which is, the process that we go through. So I thought I'm gonna, punt on the first thing I said, but maybe start with the second one, because that's more kind of concrete. And this also came out of the discussion that we're having with Liz last meeting, which is that it would seem to make a lot of sense for the school board to be in more communication with the finance committees of each of the 3 towns. So this is really my first bullet, and maybe we should just, take them one at a time, because
okay.
this
Yeah,
is complicated.
yeah.
Yeah, in the first bullet, so I think we should so my suggestion is establish a regular forum among the finance committees of the 3-member towns and the district, this is a school district, meeting at least 3 times a year. Before the district's budget assumptions are set, so this is probably September, during development of the draft budget and before the school committee votes on the budget. So roughly speaking, I think this would be like September, December, and then March. So, because I think those are the points at which, like, I think it's important for the 3 finance committees to have discussions with the school board about the budget. So that's basically my first recommendation on that.
And it just for back note, that in the past, and again, I don't know if you remember this. When I was on the previous old finance committee, they would present to all 3 towns, their finance committees, and that's where discussion would assume And then it, for whatever reason, it went away, maybe COVID, I don't know. But I think it was valuable, my own experience. And, so I really like that. I like that.
I agree with this. In fact, it was kind of the top thing that I highlighted also when I was thinking about this section. And to, sometimes I like write a paragraph to help organize my own thoughts. So what I wrote about this sort of at a high level is to recommend that in the municipal service section, to evaluate the merits of the regional school agreement and how it aligns in both the short and long term with the town strategy. The data do suggest that the schools are spending prudently and their increases are in line with macro factors affecting much more than the schools. I think the real challenge from Great Barrington's perspective is that the regional agreement does seemingly overburden Great Barrington's taxpayers compared with those of the other towns. So we do need to work collaboratively with the superintendent, school board, and the other towns to find a way forward that is fair and equitable
And sustainable.
and sustainable.
Yeah, because
So-
I think at the
yeah.
last meeting, I don't know if it was you, Jeff, or Rail. This isn't sustainable. It came up again.
Right.
I don't mean to keep looking at you,
Yeah.
Madonna, but
No,
you're
no,
there,
but,
you
yeah,
know,
Yeah,
and,
it's brutal.
and like I said, for months, we were together in a room discussing these things.
Right.
So similar to
Yeah.
the other sections, we didn't go into too much of a granular detail. Maybe it makes more sense to do it in this one than in the other ones, but still, I think like we don't want to bite off more than we can chew in terms of, specific recommendations of like, which committee is going to meet with which at what times of the year. I mean, unless we
Right.
want to do that at this point. I just think
It's just our recommendations, right?
Yeah, they're just
But this
recommendations.
absolutely is a huge
It's
priority.
at the top of the list.
It's at the
Yeah.
top of the list. One
Yeah.
second, Sharon.
So I do agree that I think a more broad general language is helpful here.
Yep.
But I think we do need to make 2 points, because yes, the big picture is the allocation, but that's the kind of thing that, of course, requires a negotiation of the 3 towns and such. Another thing is really between the school committee and the finance committee, like Michelle, you were saying happened before. That's something that could happen more quickly, and I think we do need to do that because, when the school budget goes up 7.5%, but then our tax rate maximum can go up by 2.5. Clearly there, and then if the school budget is a huge part of our entire budget, that something's gonna go out of whack. So I think more regular discussion between the finance committees and the school committee and basically tell them, look, this is what we can afford.
Yeah,
I think that kind of a constant communication, I do think is important, especially in the short term, but in the medium term, or maybe it needs to be short term, but I agree that having this discussion about the allocation is critical, but I think there's 2 things that.
and I agree with you on that, but remember we talked about tier 1, tier 2, we had the tier 1 at our level. And then there was a discussion at the next level, engaging our state government. Because working for a school district, a lot of this is dictated by the state. And it just like, there
Right.
will be a point, and not just our town, other towns.
Right.
Lobbying at the state house for changes, which isn't easy. We'll be off the finance committee before and that sort of thing. But at least a study of it, and maybe, like Lee Davison for a discussion or something like that, just to start getting our feet wet.
Right. Pressure helps.
Yeah,
It absolutely.
And I've seen, like, you talk about pressure helps, I've seen that done.
Yeah.
I've been a part of it. But, so I don't think again, Jeff, being kind of making sure we don't go too deep into it. I don't know if we have to bring it up with this, but, maybe saying something like engaging our state. State, like, both our state senator and our state
Yeah.
representative.
Right.
But-
I think at first though, this needs to be an item, because right now it's not anyway,
And
right?
if we go, no, that's right.
Because
That's what
the
I'm throwing
schools,
it out there.
so I think at the most basic level, our recommendation is
there.
ensure that the top priority in this section, right, like above everything else,
get a foothold.
is the school.
Yeah, yeah.
And then below that, so here's like the specifics, do we want to name a few specifics, or do we just in general recommend that the school should be like the bullet number one in
I'm
this section?
fine with
I'm
that.
fine with that too.
Yeah,
What
the
do-
general kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you think, Jim?
I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Keep it general, and again, hey, the support has a questions, so just,
Exactly, and
Yeah.
and this is, one of the core guiding documents
Yeah.
that the town manager and
Yeah.
department
Yeah.
managers and select board are gonna
And-
use. So I think if we get this, as a top item under tier one in municipal service
Yeah.
delivery, it will be on
it's
the
tier
radar.
one.
Yeah,
And as you know, even during the candidates forum came up.
Right.
Okay, it's constantly, but
Right.
unfortunately, because generally Berkshire Hills, they start their budget process fairly early.
I know.
Which I admire. that-
It's
that-
like
that is
September,
done.
I think.
And I agree
Yeah.
with Liz 100%, waiting until like right after the holidays is
I know.
we gotta start in that. So I've been monitoring to try to figure out when their finance committee, there's been some confusion on the town website between the building finance committee and then the school finance committee. And I've talked to
Yeah.
Steve Bannon about that because I've been watching it, because I'd like to get in on the ground floor and not as somebody tapped to go to it.
Well, we could nominate you as
Well,
our
we'll get to
representative.
that point, but I don't think it can be avoided. I think we have to.
But that's on the agenda about discussing these things like
Yeah.
in a micro thing, because I mean, not everybody, I mean, you're busy, Jeff's busy,
we're all-
we're all busy.
Yeah.
And so, but some people have it as a very specific, I mean,
I don't know what you call that, like I have a specific lean towards it because I'm in education,
Right.
maybe. That's.
but we also, I mean, I mean, if that was something you were interested
We
and
can
we,
discuss that
Okay.
later.
okay.
But let's get it
Okay.
back to the select board.
Yeah, let's wrap
Yeah.
this one up. So do you have
Ja-
a motion language that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
let me
okay.
write it in my document as well, so I have like one, one-
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to recommend to the town manager and select board to make the affordability and equitability
Affordability and.
and equitability of the regional school assessment a tier one strategic priority.
A tier one strategic priority. So make the affordability and equitability of the regional, make the affordable equitability of the regional school assessment a tier one strategic priority.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's your motion. I second it. And then now we can. open
all right,
for
now we can
discussion.
open up for discussion. Sharon, you had something.
The real reason I can't.
Well, no, and we got to it.
Now, my preface and my preamble is, when I was chair of the finance committee, 12 and 14 years ago. So, Michelle, you probably can relate to this, but, we have that regional agreement, and they're staying with that regional agreement. You have to change the regional agreement, and they're not gonna make it affordable. They're gonna do it just like it says. Divide the expenses, whatever the school district decides the expenses are. You can argue about it. But, like they say, well, we want X number of teachers and so forth, and there's a little bit like, okay, we'll get rid of the art teacher. Of course, everybody goes, ooh. But they just X amount of things that you could do that, because you're bound by the regional agreement. Now, we were really disgusted with it, so we said, and it was Chip Blitzer went up and you probably remember this, Anana, but he said, we're going to vote against the school budget, because that's the only way we get anybody's attention. But we'll put it back in 60 days later so that they know we have the votes that we really wanted to do this, and this is what we did. So what happened was that we finally got, the school district to enact, to work on the new regional agreement. That's what you have to do to make any, movement ahead. And in the regional agreement, there's a method to have a regional, amendment agreement committee. And it's, I think, 3 people from each of the 3 towns, select board member, a school committee member, and a citizen advocate. And Chip Litzer was our citizen advocate. I can't remember all the members, and it was tough. But in the end, and it took a year to negotiate this once a month. And Stockbridge's representative, one of them, was president of Eagle. And was saying, if you change this, I'm out of here. And we started, standing up and, the big guy on the school committee, Richard Holy, he's about sorry.
Oh, yeah.
The big guy.
He's buff.
You sit down now, come on. And that happened like the first 2 meetings. Eventually, we argued all the stuff, and eventually they knew we were not gonna agree to a high school. Stockbridge really wanted, the new high school. We voted it down and so forth. So, we voted down in 2014 and 2015. In 2017, they finally agreed to have a RAC committee that went for a year. So they negotiated that we would use, instead of student count, we would use EQB. So it's basically property valuation. So thus for capital expenditures. So that would affect the new high school. That's the only reason we got the new high school. So that dropped our allocation. It's been basically for a long time, 70-75%. It hovers around 74-75%. So it dropped us down to 52%. That made a difference. But capital expenditures are only about 10% or less of our school budget. The rest of it is the big stuff. It's a salary, 80% is the salaries, benefits, and so forth. So what I think we have to do is go to the operating costs. Now I have good news to say that. One is there's a bill that was put up by Paul Marks with the in the support of Lee Davis. So Paul Marks is the senator, Lee Davis, rep. That, and it basically changes the allocation, so it would be based on E2B valuation. Now, it has been incorporated in S400, the bigger Senate bill on education. And Massachusetts is quite concerned about their falling down in their education rating. And there's a lot of reasons, and Michelle probably knows this, but I certainly do, to even calculate what you have to do, takes an army of people to understand all the rules. So S400 to incorporate the EQB valuation is on the table. Now, people are concerned that, it'll take forever for the Senate to do anything. And that's probably true, but Chip Litzer has basically done the calculation of every town that's in a district in Massachusetts. 84% of them are done by E2P. So it is more common than doing it by student count, which was agreed to in 1965. So, wake up, this doesn't work anymore.
Right.
The third person that has done a study is Patrick White. And it's actually very good. I mean, put it into a newsletter so you can,
We're still
click on
using,
it
we're still using,
and
but
read it.
that's what
But,
would
Um,
help us roll.
I think that the committee, the finance committee, feel up to it. This is the only way it's gonna happen, is to recommend that the regional agreement be renegotiated. And if you can convince the select board, and I think Steve Evans should not vote because he's chair of
Right.
vote. To get them to agree to change the regional agreement. Based on the fact that we carry, Great Barrington carries a disproportionate amount of the cost because we have. We have $185 million of nonprofit headquarters here, including the schools, hospitals and everything else, 143 institutions from special needs housing to religious open space, hospital and so forth. So we are the backbone of the Southern Berkshire County operation. And
Sharon, I'm just gonna interrupt because I know that we're gonna have to do James as well. So can
Okay,
you,
so anyway, that's my.
I've taken notes.
But again, for our purposes,
Mhm.
we're not getting that far in the weeds. That's.
Right,
Consider later.
but this history is very good.
Recommendation though, it's not in the weeds.
Well,
No.
It's but to say specific to the regional agreement, there, you know,
It doesn't mean, the thing is, that all the things you're talking about are nice to have, but it doesn't hold any force, that's.
right, but again, that's for, what we're making is a simple recommendation to the select board that this is a priority. And we're talking about, it's already been spelled out, we wanna look at this assessment and everything, that would be a part of it.
That's the main story.
And we're saying, we're putting this at the very top.
Let's have a regional agreement change in order to.
Right.
See, I can't
Right.
vote on, I can't vote on.
Yeah.
it.
No, but that's a strategic priority for, I mean, I think the select board absolutely know that. I mean, it would be hard for them not to after hearing everybody at town meeting. But James Garzon would like to.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be quick. James Garzone, 84 North Plain Road. As we know, good news, this year's Massachusetts budget is giving the rural community schools more money. So I'm hoping that the school will take advantage of it and get some money from the states. And what's good about this apportionment that the rural school aid will get is that the school district has to outline how they're going to increase regional collaboration, shared administration services, school consolidations to lower costs long term, which we all want the school to start focusing on that. Another thing I would like, and I know Rayo is all about data, we should get real data about the school choice in program. I know it's continuously said that we need the students to come in, even though we're only getting 5,000 from the state, and that's never going to change, that it helps us because it lowers costs. We should get real data to back that information up because it's very ambiguous, the savings or the benefit that we get in. And of course, the apportionment, we all agree needs to be changed. I won't repeat that. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Anybody else?
Oh, one last thing.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
All right. I need to-
Oh, wait. Okay, go
there
ahead.
we go.
James Garzone, 84 North Plain Road. One last thing. One thing about Personomics, and I believe everybody read Patrick White's paper, the underfunded pension, that's a huge liability that Great Barrington is going to incur long term. So that's another thing we need to consider. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
The underfunded pensions.
The underfunded pensions in the town,
Yeah.
Okay.
that's a big one.
And you know, the school or the town.
Town,
Yes, the school thing, one more recommendation.
all right, one more, quick.
If, the finance committee asked for the, post. OPEB. Other
It's
post-employment. Because I think it's 4 times larger counts, liability. I think this is already 80 to 100.
We have a lot to tackle. There's no
And
doubt.
that has come up before.
Yeah, I know,
meetings.
I know.
Yeah.
Do you know what earlier we talked about, we want to have a conversation with the Chamber of Commerce, probably like we should devote one meeting to like talking about school things. Yeah, as a finance committee, just
But
going
that-
over some of these in the
I
weeds,
think
but
that's what Jeff was going to make sure we give
Yeah.
ourselves flexibility
yeah,
Right,
and
right.
autonomy
Yeah.
when we're doing this. I
Okay.
think that is your lean to this. I think we're fortunate because Rayo gets into the specifics, Jeff digests it, and how can we put it back out there that gives us.
And you correct us.
Yeah. You know, but I think that's a great dynamic
Right.
there, so.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Anybody else wanted to say anything? No, okay. Nobody else is up there. Okay, so it's time to vote. Rayo,
aye,
Jeff,
aye.
Michelle, aye, and I'm aye. Woo,
So that's
Those
it in terms of the recommendations that we have.
But I thought we will.
Wait, but
go
that's it,
back,
yeah,
but
exactly.
yeah, I think it's interesting, particularly because we have the open space and recreation discussion going on, so, I just thought we'd have a conversation
Sure.
about it.
okay, you start the conversation.
Yeah, because land use decisions, something that's very, I'm speaking for myself again, is very important to me. Because I've seen what has gone wrong in the past. I live it every day. And so that's a serious conversation. To me, open space and recreation is great.
Thanks, Phil.
Sorry.
It's okay. Thank you for coming.
Open space and recreation is great. But I'm beginning to become painfully aware there are areas in our community that are protected and areas that are not. So that was based on poor land use decisions possibly decades ago. I know for a fact it wasn't that use. So moving forward, that's something that's incredibly important to me. For example, in where I live, beautiful farmland was taken for a gravel bed.
Oh, yeah.
That would never happen today. It would never happen today. And so could you just see somebody coming before the select board saying, a nice farmland over there, I'm gonna put a gravel bed there. And if you go, are you kidding me? We're not doing it. At the worst, and I don't mean to say worst, would be housing. You know, not that housing is worse, but if you weren't going to have the farmland, you're going to put a roof over someone's
I
head.
know.
That sort of thing. So, another huge thing, and I want to point this out, is we really have to, we're talking about economic development. We really got to look at that Reston River thing. It's like people don't want to talk about it. And it's going to hit Housatonic and hit it big time. And Housatonic is Great Barrington.
Look at me,
Reston River.
thank you.
It's, oh, I'm sorry, Andy, I don't think you know this. Reston River, the GE cleanup. And I keep bringing this up because I was honored to be part of a group up in Lee, that I was actually invited to go to Boston for a protest. Bob Jones, select board
Mhm.
member there.
Yep.
And Lee is right on it because it's happening to them
Mhm.
right now. And you know what, it's going to come to
Right.
Housatonic, and for some reason. People's head, I brought it up in other meetings and it was like
Mhm.
brushed over. Oh, we're not, but. It's 10 years down the line, those 10, as you get older, those 10 years come fast.
What is the?
Gee, cleanup of rising.
No, I
yeah.
know that, but so what in Housatonic is?
My
part of
neighborhood.
that?
The rising pond where Amerigas
Rising.
is,
Yeah.
it's gonna be 183 on the other side of Rising. Yeah, and if you, as a matter of fact, that this will impact economy.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, they had, the state or the government had an open house at Lee School. I walked out of there, got in my car and cried. I mean, it did nothing to comfort me. It was very clear to me. They're gonna blow into Housatonic and it's gonna take years and nobody wants to face it. So.
The agreement, it's all signed, done.
Well,
approved,
yeah,
supposedly,
it was
right?
done, but who's kind of got, in my opinion, I'm speaking for myself, got thrown under a bus on it. That being said, we can't talk economic development without looking at this, in my opinion. It's like building a gorgeous home and you've got a toxic waste dump next door. You-
You know, I put this as a comment for our last meeting, and I think I brought it up too, but maybe it makes sense too. I mean, I said like under economic development that there does not seem to be contemplation of land use, zoning, or other adjustments. And my thought was, you know, that would encourage development. But I think your point is also, you know, that would promote sustainability and the environment. It's both, like what you're
Well,
talking about touches
Yeah,
both of
it does.
these pillars, sustainability, environment, and economic
But
development.
what's scaring me is retain state for the staff resources to assist with monitoring and evaluation. That is not happening now with some of and it'll come to a head Monday night at a select board meeting. I'm sorry, enforcement, monitoring, evaluation isn't happening now.
So
And
should we
so,
recommend that this be a
well,
higher tier?
I would actually, yes, because when you talk staff resources, you're talking money.
I agree.
And who kind of are the gatekeepers on that? But if it's not done and not done well, it's gonna directly into all that nice work we do on economic development. Remember, Great Barrington's more than Main Street, it's more than Railroad Street. It's your neighborhood, it's your neighborhood, it's my neighborhood, it's your neighborhood, et cetera. So, I would consider it, well, reed cleaners and sustainable waste management, they're important as well. But to see Rusted River as tier 3 broke
Yeah.
my heart.
But I agree with you. I think, you know, so if we think of what's the biggest impact, it's
The
that
river.
at tier 3.
Yeah.
So that should really be tier 1.
Yeah,
And, you know, we cleans, but like, that's immediate, but, you know, like, this is like,
That's
those
the
two things
worst.
should be
Yeah.
the top 2 tiers. That,
because
you know,
reed cleaners has,
Yeah.
because I don't know what you call it, has
Yeah,
contaminated
they're right,
Yeah.
around there.
formaldehyde, whatever the heck they were
And
using.
what good is open space and recreation if a community's gonna be obliterated economically?
Yeah, polluting the rivers is.
I mean,
is
so
not
then,
good.
hey, got a vacant lot, you can sleep there, you know, I mean, it is, if you attend these meetings, as a matter of fact, Bob Jones even offered to come to Housatonic and talk to Housatonic residents. I thought the Housatonic Improvement Committee would have been an excellent forum to do that, but I'm not so sure, okay? And the thing is, if you look at the aging population in Housatonic, this is gonna hit with some of the current seniors are gonna be even older and have nowhere to go. I mean, we have a senior housing right there, they're gonna have a front row seat to all of this. Oh,
So
I'm sorry, Jeff.
I was just thinking, you know,
I thought you were stopping me going like that. I'm so
I mean,
sorry, that's why I would like
I
to.
think as something concrete we could do, and I'm glad to, if people agree, state it as a motion, but if we recommended that Rusted River be moved from tier 3 to tier 1,
Yes,
and I agree with your point that the only action, and Rio brought this up too, is it's passive, it's monitoring and evaluation, but we should have advocacy.
Yeah, I
As a
agree
part,
with you,
so-
thank you.
you
Yeah.
got your motion.
Yeah, so could I make a motion to recommend that Rusted River be moved from tier 3 to tier 1 and to add to the end of the bullet and advocacy. So the bullet would read, retain staff resources to assist with monitoring, evaluation, and advocacy.
I like that. I like that.
Can you say that?
Yes, to move the rest of river, well, from tier 3 to tier 1 and to change the wording on the bullet to retain staff resources to assist with monitoring, evaluation, and advocacy. Is it staff resources to monitor, or is it staff resources for advocacy? It's more like the town embraces that it
You
should be.
could
in
say
advocacy.
retain town resources. You could take staff out of there,
Ah,
so it broadens it.
okay,
because
I like
We're
that.
not town staff,
Yeah,
but I feel if I'm serving on any board or committee, I
Yeah,
have an obligation. I mean. you know,
Retain
Madonna
town-
did. I don't
Yeah.
mean to point to Madonna, but she serves on other boards.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
Yeah.
retain town resources to assist with monitoring, comma, evaluation, comma, and advocacy.
yeah, so.
If we do the Oxford
yeah.
comma.
All right, so the motion more correctly reads, to move from tier 3 to tier 1, rest of river, and to change the line to retain town resources to assist with monitoring, evaluation, and advocacy.
Yeah, I like that. I like the town resources because I want to be a part of that. And I'm not staff.
Yeah.
And obviously, under that umbrella, if you have a staff person.
Yeah.
Who is going out there and doing, that person has to be paid with that. We won't, but I want to be included in that. I'm just talking from a finance. So that's my, but I appreciate that, Jeff.
I like that. I'll second the motion.
And motion seconded.
Oh, motion is. Okay, seconded. All right, so now. We'll try to keep it down to 3 minutes. I know I'm a little liberal, okay? Does anybody have a comment in the public? Sure. Doug Robbins.
In the earlier part of the sequential.
Just a little louder with the air going in. You'll get used to that.
Don't worry about it. It's hard for me to hear it. And I'm
Yeah,
hearing it.
yeah.
So, in the beginning of our conversation this evening, we discussed, and Tom said back.
Yeah.
We discussed evaluating procurement and viewing costs. Is there anything in place to evaluate the monies we can spend for the construction of this? There's a $90 million process that we're assuming is under. Is there anything finance that we need to put forward? The way we had an issue with construction in this data.
Right,
And there's a tremendous amount of money being spent. Do we have an authorization or input in terms of evaluating? So we don't have a surprise that $5 million is put for something that we're not assessing properly. And I don't know if that question.
I don't
Well,
think,
it's not on this motion. That's-
well, no, I don't.
Yeah, so we have to-
But if you backtracked about that, yeah, don't,
Motion first.
well, we'll address the motion, but we get it about the school and what we can
And
do.
we can go
I'm sorry.
back.
Yeah,
to that, yeah.
Okay,
No,
no,
we have to.
no problem. Is there anybody with their hand up on, hold on, see if anybody,
No, it's fine.
Nope.
no, nobody out there, okay. All right, so, okay, so we're ready to vote on the motion and then we'll come back to you, okay? All right, so, motion,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Michelle,
It's an aye, and thank you to my fellow committee members.
you're welcome. I'm an aye, so.
Should we do?
What?
Oh, no, yeah, so.
Okay, so we finished that. I just want to, Doug had, Robbins had the.
Yeah.
So, as far as I know, and Michelle's been on this committee a lot longer than me, in previous, and we've got Sharon as well. We're really an advisory group. So, I mean, we can, no, you don't think so, okay.
Not in years past. You may be advisory at this stage, but my interpretation of the finance committee for 60 years has been thinking what guys recommend what to do.
Well, we appropriate the funds when they come our way and make recommendations at town. But they were pretty clear that we're an advisory group. So we can be strong-hearted about it.
It's
Yeah.
different.
One of the questions advise the select board to have something implemented so that we don't have kind of procurement challenges that we face.
Well, that's what, Rick, what you're suggesting is what our motion on that with a capital, committee, a review committee.
I just didn't know.
One for the-
this would happen.
Well, also, remember,
we can't.
it's a regional
Yeah.
school district, it's not just Great Barrington.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think a segue to that would be, because the finance committees of each town were involved before, we should reintroduce that again and build upon it after that. Because, they have their own, finance committee, they have their own building committee, they have their own school committee, which I think is meeting tonight. It's school committee's meeting tonight, and everything like that, and, there's a protocol
Yeah.
in place.
As I said, Michelle, I don't know, it was just a question, I don't know
Yeah.
the proper protocol procedure.
Yeah,
But after we went through what we did, it would be a nightmare to all of a sudden experience a surprise of allocation of funds that came up after the fact. That was all.
we just particularly for the school district, and I just working, just
It was a full construction, such.
right, and I just know from my own experience. I'm not, I don't work for a town, but I know working for a school. How the state just watches what goes on and what you do. Schools are routinely audited
Yeah.
all the time. I myself have been through audits of what I do. So I don't know whether. Because of, convergence of circumstances, this has happened to the town of Great Barrington. As a matter of fact, I'd like to put it on an agenda when we get to that point, so we can revisit it. But on the school side, certainly it's going to be something that we need to be aware of and
Yes.
everything, how much.
Right.
We could say, like Madonna, you were right, you could use, I think you said we can be strong
Right.
about, yeah, absolutely.
We can be vocal and strong.
Vocal.
And they'll hear us, and Liz will hear us.
Yeah.
She will
That's
absolutely
what
hear
it's plus.
Our votes will speak loudly.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's maybe worth mentioning here that, that if we look at the tax dollars and how much of that is going to the school, 75% of like tax dollars we collect goes to the school. So everything we're kind of doing is the remaining 25%, which really is like what makes a job really difficult when so much is that we have no control over it
Yeah.
because the school committees over the three towns, each of the three towns essentially, especially currently, does not have much of a say. So that's why it was like on the last point that let's create a mechanism where
Yeah.
at least the finance committees of the towns can have conversations with the school because so much of our tax dollars are going to the school. So we need to at least have that conversation. So when they're making decisions, like our perspectives are taken into account.
And also, heard it once a dozen times, you hear it. We have no control over it. We have no control over it. I think the taxpayers have gotten wary
Right,
of
right,
that.
right.
If we
Yeah.
could say, at this point, we don't have hands-on with it, but this is what we're going to do. This is, and it's an action. word.
And it's changing the
Yeah, yeah,
optics,
yeah.
absolutely.
Instead of being reactive, we're being proactive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I know this has gone on a long time, so I'm, yeah, I just want to move. And maybe we should look at our calendars for our next meeting and then come up with some future meetings. Topics, we could just, do number 5 for our next meeting, so
So
that,
we're not doing 4?
no, we will, but
Oh,
I'm just
we're gonna go
saying.
back to it.
Yeah, I would just say, if we
Just
check
go
a
back.
meeting, what do we want on it and what would we want in the future? And then we can figure,
Okay, so we're doing the next meeting
But
first.
yeah, let's do the next
Okay.
meeting. So what seems to work for people? I had
When
August,
do we need to meet for a critical issue?
it's up to us. I mean,
Because
Because
Liz
we
also
did-
wanted to do a 101 meeting, like during public finance, because didn't she say she wanted to do a meeting just for that?
The workshop?
The workshop, yeah, because she was.
Yeah, I heard, but that, I thought that was like in August, like 13th. Remember, Madonna, we did. an
Right,
email like that?
I did have a
August.
place, August 11th as a
Yeah, it was
place.
August, I have the placeholder, you're
And,
absolutely
and
correct.
can,
Yeah.
are we all around? Cause Rayo's on vacation, but you come back,
Right,
right?
so August 11th, I'm back. I'm gone. Yes, August
the-
11th, I'll definitely be back, so that'll be
So-
fine, yeah.
So should, we
For the
just,
workshop, that would,
no, well, I guess we should,
check, well, we can schedule a meeting for that
Yeah, we can-
day, and
let's-
if it involves a workshop as
right,
well.
5 o'clock, would that work?
Yeah, that far in advance. I
Okay.
can-
Yeah,
I
let's
can
do,
get it
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so we'll
5
do that at 5 o'clock.
11th at 5.
Okay, and then what would we want on the topic, whether or not it's the workshop or,
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of would like to circle back around for me on, the procurement audit. Cause I feel like we talked about it, stopped. And I don't know
Yeah.
what truly, where are we at on it? That does not impede any
The-
kind of legal thing.
yeah, because it's on the agenda that it's, going to be talked at in the executive session,
Oh, it is.
The next
yeah.
week,
We don't come
next
down to
week.
select board agenda.
it just came out and it said that they were gonna meet and
Yeah.
they were gonna be discussing that,
Because
vendor,
I just
that
feel like
contractor.
we're talking a lot about procurement and I have no idea.
well, the town
Right.
people wanna know.
Yeah, but that day,
Yeah,
you know,
there you
but
go.
also at the next level, we're tasked with something we don't know
I know that,
about it, that's all. And
Yeah.
also the prosperity way, I just wanna bring that up, like, what is happening with regard to that being looked at, another major capital project.
okay,
And so, the two, and it could be even a 5 minute, here, it could be as simple as an update.
yeah,
on either
okay,
one. Yeah.
okay,
And I would like to
Yep.
hear how the select board reacts to what we're putting
Oh, yeah.
forward tonight at their
Okay,
uh,
okay.
workshop,
Yeah.
you know.
On Tuesday, they're Tuesday, yeah.
Are you going, is anybody here going to the workshop?
Oh, I would probably be there like on the 28th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll come more than likely be
Yeah, I'll
there.
definitely.
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
No, I'm out of town, but I look forward to reading the
And
newsletters
the
report
budget's
about it.
recorded, yeah,
okay.
and that's if I don't have a conflict.
So
with
the-
the meeting,
We,
but they'll be
yeah, we wanna
set.
find out what the reaction to our recommendations are. We want an update on Prosperity Way procurement audit. In the future, I know that Rayo had, and, Patrick White had actually gotten, I guess, in touch here that, wasn't it? Yeah,
So he, I guess, knows my number, knows Madonna, so he like, well, everyone got the report now, so
Right.
initially, it was sent. So Patrick White sent it to me simultaneously, I guess, he sent to Eileen you as well, like. got
Yeah, that's
posted,
how that,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess he wanted to send it to the finance committee as well. So the question is, do we want to discuss this report but it was sent to us, but I don't know, like, if it's something.
discussion about it, it should be, like, anybody can send us anything.
Yeah,
But by writing, it should be added to an agenda.
Right.
To an agenda,
You
uh-huh.
know, it's not about a vote or
Right,
anything
right.
like that. It's just, but so we can have a rich conversation
Right,
about
because-
it without worrying
so
about.
future, and also,
everything.
how about the Chamber of Commerce? Do we
Well,
want that as a
That's a
future?
lot, that, in the future, for August
Yeah.
11th, that's gonna.
I know
be
this
a lot.
all.
No, not the 11th,
Oh,
I'm just
because
like,
future topics,
I'm just-
okay,
yeah.
I was gonna say, whoa, you really,
no,
you're doing a select board.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
I mean, the Patrick White's, because it's been circulated, it's making some kind of a buzz, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Should we invite him to discuss?
It's up to the chair.
I mean, what would we
I
be
mean,
interested in?
You know, officially.
Sure, yes, yes, yes,
You're
yes,
open as far as. taking
Yeah.
suggestions.
well, we can invite. And then what we also discussed was if, in the future, but, inviting the other boards or maybe a subcommittee if you're so very interested in the school. I mean, maybe we should have one person at least go and you know, because they're particularly interested in that, like you said, you have a.
But that's a conversation we should have in a meeting, because I'm working in another community. If I can't go, you know, what kind of mechanism can we have?
Well, I was
Call Rayo or Madonna.
Well, that's what we were going to say, a subcommittee, but we could, and that way it would
Does
be.
it really have to be a sub?
No, I mean.
Let's talk about it in the meeting. Let's just have a conversation about it.
Well, I thought we
Yeah.
were having.
Yeah, that you can hash it all out there.
Oh, okay, oh, okay,
We can, and also we have time to think about it, but
all right, so 8/11 right now, and there'll probably be something that comes up. Prosperity Way procurement audit updates.
Yeah.
yeah.
And we
that's-
want the select board reaction to our recommendations, discussion, anything else? I
let's see,
mean,
8/11.
we tend to kind of be a little chatty.
Oh, also, there's a
workshop.
CPA.
Oh, yes, we got it,
After
that's right.
It's an appointment.
Yeah.
Is that something probably be there?
That's gotta be
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
right,
that's gotta be done.
CPA
Because
appointment.
They're gonna start
Yeah.
doing
yeah.
their thing.
And then, of course, we have the minutes that, you know,
Oh,
will
yeah,
event,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
so.
house.
So that's actually seems like that's a lot.
Yeah, but it's good.
Yeah, no,
No,
I
that's
know.
good, but at least we're
And-
not twiddling our thumbs. you know?
Well, and the other thing is, I know I kind of do a little bit looser, but everybody seemed like we weren't being yelled at. so-
Well, as you know, during budget meetings.
Yeah.
It gets,
Yeah.
really, if they're long
Yeah,
and gets super involved.
Yeah.
So that's when you start restricting. a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
more,
yeah,
just
yeah,
because
yeah.
of time,
Yeah.
that's all.
but,
Well,
I-
so it seems like August 11th is all set,
Yeah.
but maybe after that, if we
Yeah.
do want to discuss the report Patrick Wright sent around, because there's a lot in there, we should try and do like one whole meeting, because there's so many subcomponents.
okay,
So should we do that
So-
as like the one afterwards? Yeah,
But it's not uncommon for committees to have the planning board does a presentation.
yeah.
One meeting is a presentation and discussion regarding X, and
Right,
and
right.
that's.
okay. But do we have anything for September? I mean, just,
Oh.
yeah, I'm just like,
Yeah, we don't have anything yet, and I think,
Want to go that far ahead?
no, only because I know Rayo,
I'm teasing her.
Yeah. because Rayo has his classes, so there's a
Oh.
couple days that are no.
Basically, for me, I teach Tuesday, Thursday.
Thank you, Eileen, thank you, Lynn. Oh, you're gonna be right back, oh, okay.
So in September,
Thank you, Sharon.
Tuesday and Thursday will be difficult for you.
I can probably somehow make it by 6, but it's gonna be tight. Wednesdays, I don't, I work from
Put
home.
on Wednesday. What's
We
the-
do Wednesday,
you know,
September
overnight?
9th.
I don't know, Madonna,
Wednesday,
it's on the zoning board of appeals too.
on Tuesdays, they usually,
That's
they
Tuesday.
usually meet Tuesday. I might be away, on the 9th, I'm not sure, but I could pencil it in,
No.
but I would be free the 16th as well.
Wednesdays
It's a
in
Wed-
general work for all of us, then that could be like a general meeting
Okay.
date. Meeting a day of the week. Of course, specific dates we need to figure out.
Right,
I'm probably out of town on the 16th. I'm in town on the 23rd.
We want to wait that long? to
Or-
August?
let me see about the 9th, and
Oh,
then.
okay.
And then you know, what, it's good for me to try to get placeholders at town hall, you know.
No,
But
you
the-
have to, there's
So
only
put the
one
9th for
there,
tentative
so.
at 5 o'clock.
Okay,
What's
at
that?
5.
We'll put the 9th of September tentative at 5 o'clock.
At 5, yeah,
Although-
when it's in advance, so.
I will say that, I'm available September 1st, which is a
Oh,
Tuesday. It's from the following week that the semester starts. So if
I
you
can't
want to
do
meet
that.
the first,
I have another meeting
I'm-
that night.
oh, you have another,
Oh,
first. okay,
What
then
about the second?
Second, I'm out.
Yeah, somebody said they. were
Yeah,
gonna
second
do
from,
the second.
I'm at a conference during
Okay.
second for the,
well, we've got a couple choices, the
Yeah.
9th and the 23rd
yeah,
possible.
all those.
Generally, Madonna sends out an email, she'll say, okay, revisiting the dates.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And, because life
Yeah.
changes.
okay,
And
okay. And then,
then when we get into October, I'll be having a nervous breakdown because my daughter's getting married.
oh,
So-
to the water, well,
Yeah,
I'll dress
yeah,
up.
so, and I may even have a pre-nervous breakdown in September, so just will.
Okay, all right.
Hey, this may be too far for everyone, but do you want to look at October?
We could, I've got my little,
If you have,
Yeah.
when's the wedding?
The wedding's on the 17th.
Oh, okay, so it's over
Sorry,
here.
Tori, for in a public meeting discussing your wedding, but.
Well,
Is it,
Now
so.
all
the
these
week-
crashes are gonna
absolutely, the
show up.
week of the. Probably going the week of the 12th through the
all right,
20th.
so we would be
It's
talking
not
the
very big.
7th or the 21st.
Yeah, I'll be just
I can do
returning,
either of those.
either the week of the 12th, the week of the 19th, I'm not gonna be available.
Well, the 14th is my birthday, so unless we have a cake, I don't know if we should meet on like October 14th.
Let's meet with a cake. But that's not good for Michelle. I want an excuse for
So
cake.
you're announcing your
Happy
dozen,
birthday
I'm
to you.
announcing when my birthday is.
And
Right, on the
the
14th,
21st is my husband's birthday, so.
mine's the 3rd.
Really?
Yeah.
So.
A lot of Octobers.
Yep.
Well, what about the 7th? October,
I put to make,
or
maybe,
the 7th?
So yeah, 7th will be, so Wednesday, 7th will be fine. If it's 6 PM, I'll probably be able to make it, but 7th will be clear.
that
What about you
would-
guys?
Works for me.
The 7th?
Yeah, okay, we'll
What-
just, we'll just put
Just
that in,
pencil.
Yep,
Pencil
pencil in it.
And you'll send us. Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you got some dates there.
This is helpful.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Okay, all right, citizen speak time. We've got 2 citizens and we've got someone on, maybe on there, and I'm gonna actually make
Hold on, let me,
James.
yes,
He's-
participants, attendees. Events are gonna get really good. after
Okay.
this. Here we go.
James. I put you
James
on 3
Garzone,
minutes.
84 North Plain Road. Just want to say thank you. I like what I'm hearing. You're being active. You're going to be proactive. You're going to be the town's, purse string holders and making sure that we are set up for the future. So thank you. Good night.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you for participating. Anybody else? Okay, and anybody here, media time? Is there any media? Eileen was here, but she's already reporting. Okay, so I make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
That motion.
And all in favor, Rayo,
Aye.
All right.
Jeff,
Huh?
Michelle, and me, we are adjourned at, what time is it? 7:44.